The following is a presentation from Learfield and New Mexico State University. The bowl-eligible New Mexico State Aggies get one final shot to play in front of their home fans in 2022, and it's senior day. Fresh off a dominating upset win against Liberty, Jerry Kill's program looks to make it wins in 5 of 6 as they welcome in FCS Valparaiso, playing their first ever FBS opponent. Adam Young alongside the former Aggie defensive back Danny Nee, Tatiana Favela with us on the sidelines. We're just glad to be here today. It's been a crazy week. The Aggies had to go 2 for 2 on waivers. They got a waiver to play Valpo, their 12th game this year. They also got a waiver to become bowl eligible at 5 and 6. It's been a roller coaster week.
It's been a roller coaster week. You know, you put in the hard work up front, you get a big win against Liberty, then you get a little break, you get 2 waivers approved. Now we got senior day, and then we got a bowling event coming up.
What a week it was last week in Lynchburg, Virginia for the Aggie quarterback Diego Pavia. 6 total touchdowns, Danny. It was one of the best performances in recent memory for the Aggies.
Yeah, number 10, Diego Pavia, had a great, incredible game. The 6', 200-pound junior from Albuquerque, Volcano Vista, had an incredible game with 6 touchdowns, like you said, 3 passing, 3 running. He ran for 125, 0 turnovers, and he showed us some incredible moves he had.
And a lot of national awards over the weekend for Pavia. On defense, the Aggies continue to be steady, and now they're forcing turnovers at a high rate. Grad transfer DB Bryce Jackson has been a big part of that, Danny.
Yeah, number 32, Bryce Jackson, the graduate transfer from UNLV, has had a fantastic year for the Aggies. As strong safety, he's number 3 on tackles. The coaches like his sure tackling ability, which has really prevented some big plays from happening on defense. We really needed that. You added in an interception last week to help secure the win. Bryce had a fantastic year.
Today's game against Valpo does not count towards bowl eligibility. Valpo's FCS, you can only count 1 FCS victory. Despite that, the Aggies are bowl eligible. They need to take care of business today. No letdowns.
No letdowns at all. Talk to some coaches. They're focused. They know this 12th game is important, even though it doesn't count. They still got to go out there and take care of business, do what they're coached to do on the field, and then after that, let's see where we go.
And it is senior day as well. The Aggies trying to send off their seniors on a high note. The bowl-eligible Aggies look to send off those seniors in style on senior day. We're sponsored by Electronic Caregiver. Kickoff on the way next. We're back with you here at Aggie Memorial Stadium. The regular season finale on senior day. Today's game is presented by Electronic Caregiver, a proud partner of Aggie Athletics. Find them online at electroniccaregiver.com. Adam Young, Danny Nee, Tatiana Favela with you. The Aggies are coming off a huge win, an upset win against Liberty a week ago. For more on that, we send it down to Tatiana.
Well, the Aggies are back home at Aggie Memorial Stadium today after one of the biggest upset wins in the history. The Aggies beat Liberty last week with a final score of 49-14, despite being 24-point underdogs heading into the game. Now, this victory marks the 2nd biggest upset of the season, and it also saw quarterback Diego Pavia earn numerous post-game honors after his 6 touchdown performances that led the Aggies to their win. Now today, the Aggies are looking to finish the regular season on a high note with their 6th win of the season. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Tatiana. The Aggies rolling right along. Winners of 4 of their previous 5 games. Time now for Knees Keys. They are presented by the El Paso Las Cruces Chevy dealers. Danny?
Yeah, here's what I'm thinking, Adam. Well, from a key standpoint, it's been the battle cry all year long, is win the turnover battle. When we win the turnover battle, we usually stand to win the game. That's the first thing. Keep focus there. The second is keep the momentum. What do you do when you're playing at such a high level? Offensively, defensively, special teams, you keep the momentum. You do the things that you're coached to do, and that will continue to propel you into winning games. So keep that momentum. The last is peg the fun meter. Here we are. We get 2 breaks, 2 waivers. We win a big game. We're at home, senior day. You get your 12th. You got your fans. Have some fun. This is supposed to be fun.
The waiver for this game was approved 4 days ago on Tuesday. There's a look at Valpo head coach Landon Fox. Big thanks to Valpo for wanting to play this game here today. This is their first ever FBS opponent. The Aggies received the waiver Thursday to be bowl eligible as well at 5-6. The waiver was approved since the Aggies could not play San Jose State earlier this year. That game, of course, was postponed and later canceled due to a death on the San Jose State roster. The Aggies are now guaranteed a bowl bid, according to National College Football writer Brett McMurphy. The game today, because it is another FCS opponent for the Aggies, it does not count towards bowl eligibility, but it does not matter. The Aggies are already bowl eligible, and they will head to a bowl for the second time in 61 years. And as they usually do when they win the toss, the Aggies defer to half two. So we're going to see their defense on the field for the first time. And Ethan Albertson will kick off on senior day. Line drive kick for Albertson, no return for Valpo. And the Beacons in their first ever FBS game will start at the 25-yard line. What an experience this is for Valpo, Danny. I mean, this is their Super Bowl, isn't it?
It is. You know, as we talked before the game started, you mentioned that, you know, they went home for Thanksgiving. It was like, hey, the season's over. And then the coach calls and says, hey, you guys want to play again? Let's play some football. So then they got to rally the troops, bring them back together, get some game film, get some planning together, and get out to Las Cruces. So what an experience. We thank them for making the trek.
Michael Apple Jr. is the quarterback, a redshirt freshman from Springboro, Ohio. The running back is a really good one, Aaron Dawson. And Dawson will carry on the first play for Valpo. Dawson, nearly 1,200 rushing yards for the year. He's a fifth-year senior, a transfer from Central Connecticut. He is only 171 yards away, entering action today, from tying the school record for rushing yards in a single year. So he's a really good one that the Aggie defense could have their hands full with, Danny.
Yeah, you got to keep your eye on him. He's got 10 touchdowns, so a lot of the touchdowns go through him, so you have to shut him down for sure.
And he gets pretty much all the carries for the Valpo Beacons out of the Pioneer Football League. In motion was the tight end Vickers. They toss it to Dawson, who's also good in the passing game. Dawson making his 24th catch of the year. He is tackled by Andre Selden. He picks up a half dozen.
Yeah, Andre Selden has really turned on the latter part of the year, has done a great job there. They're at that nickel back position. You can see him come up fast. Both him and Cyrus come screaming up there quickly to shut it down. Had 8 tackles last week. He's just having a heck of a game, and he's really going to be needed as we get into this bowl game.
Dawson with 6 catches in the most recent game 2 weeks ago for Valpo. Third and short for them. They are 34% this year on third down. This Aggie defense has been outstanding all year, especially the previous month. Apple will throw, and it's hauled in by the tight end Vickers near midfield. The redshirt sophomore from Canton, Michigan, makes his 6th catch this year.
You know, the tight end play is one of the hardest things to really cover because you never know when they're going to come out, where they're going to block down, and when they're going to release. So if you get a big guy that's coming across, sometimes when you're in a safety position, you may not even see him make the catch because they're so big. So the tight end position, both off, you know, for the Aggies and for them, you have to keep your eye on those guys.
Gain of 14 for Vickers. Valpo will use 2 tight ends, Vickers and Evan Jernigan. In motion here is Braden Contreras. And the running back again is Dawson, nowhere to go.
You know, Adam, one of the hardest things to do after coming off a big win and is getting back to practice. You have so much energy, so many things flying around, news and everything, is to stay focused, you know, and that's one of the things that the Aggies need to do is you remember how hard that battle was getting to Liberty? Then you got to be able to continue that battle and fight through that and get focused on no matter who shows up to play.
10 touchdowns this year for Dawson. Tied for 3rd for a single season in school history. School record is 14. Dawson motions to Apple's left. Tight formation for Valpo. Catch is made by Contreras near midfield. And third down coming up for the Beacons out of Valparaiso, Indiana. A gain of 4 for Contreras on his 27th catch this year.
Hey, they look very posed back there, right? So you give them some little yardage on the ends there, on the cornerbacks, gives them 5 or 6 yards, and they're saying, fine, we'll take that. We'll just throw a little quick out. There it is, boom, you come in, close it down. But it puts you in third and midfield-ish position. It's not a bad little drive they're putting together. Defense, we've got to stick our heels in here and really shut them down.
Valpo converted earlier with Vickers. They're only averaging 24 points per game for the year, 7 points or less in 2 of their previous 3 games. Under pressure is Apple, and he goes down. He's brought down by Isaiah Reed, who's been a heck of a transfer from Murray State.
You know, Isaiah Reed is just getting tougher and tougher every game we see in there, and he's just a big guy in there at 6'1", 295 to really mess things up in the middle there. Run a little stun up front where you're putting a little crossing action in there and just continue pursuing to the ball. Just bull rush right to him for the sack.
3.5 sacks now this year for Reed. The Aggies a week ago, a season-high 5 sacks, 2.5 from Lazarus Williams in the lopsided upset win against Liberty. Evan Mathis will punt. Lawrence Dixon, the senior, is back deep on senior day. And Dixon will handle around the 15-yard line. He stays on his feet, he twists, and he turns past the 15-yard line. One of the cool things about this game too, Danny, is guys like Lawrence Dixon and the other seniors, there's 18 of them getting honored today. They get to go out their way here at home because a couple weeks ago when they played Lamar, they thought maybe that was going to be their final home game, but they didn't know.
Right. And, you know, the other thing is you contrast the beginning of the season and how we started it, and it's just like, we can't get a win to save our lives. And all of a sudden you get momentum in the mid-season, pick it up at the end, you pick up a win with Liberty, you get a couple waivers. All of a sudden the seniors are saying, hey, you know what, we're going to a bowl game.
First look today at Diego Pavia. After his record-setting performance at Liberty, he slings it out for Cordell David, racing near sideline, and he almost broke free. Tackle made by fifth-year senior Colton Sherman. Cordell David, the big 6'4" target, showing off his blazing speed.
Yeah, this is just this little play action, going to get the ball out to Cordell and let him show off his speed there on the end. And you could see it there. He had a big week last week, too, with 3 catches, 51 yards. You know, TD, he's just really improving.
20-yard explosion on the catch and run for David. Pistol back here is Star Thomas. They hand it off for Thomas, stays patient, able to find a crease up near midfield. The big running back from Homer, Louisiana. A good run on first down.
You know, our running game is very important, and we saw a couple stats that said, you know, when the Aggies score or get 100 yards rushing, their probability of win increases substantially, which may be true for a lot of teams, but that just says you have to really focus on your running to make sure you can run. Part of that is having your offensive line perform like they did last week.
49-plus points in 2 of the previous 3 games for this Aggie offense, and now they're up to 22 points per game. They've only committed 4 combined turnovers in the previous 7. And Diego Pavia, making his 7th start this year, has been a big reason why. He has a man downfield. It's hauled in. Jonathan Brady, his 2nd touchdown in as many weeks. 50 yards away. The Aggies strike first on senior day.
Wow, what a play right there. You see Diego kind of looking at the field, looking at what's happening there, trying to get his isolation of figuring out who he wants. You can see he's looking to the right. He's looking at Jonathan all day long thinking, you know what, he's got the speed. He can take that guy, and he did. And not only that, but Diego puts a perfect pass to him right there. Jonathan hauls it in, and we know he can motor in for the TD.
He's coming off a career day, team best 4 catches, team best 52 yards in his first collegiate touchdown a week ago. 1 week later, the young man out of Bishop Gorman does it again. Brady from 50. Aggies had 7-zip early on in quarter 1.
Welcome to the Border Plate.
Well, that was quick for the bowl-eligible Aggies. 7-0, a 50-yard touchdown strike from Diego Pavia to freshman Jonathan Brady on the 3rd play from scrimmage. And the Aggies jump out in front against FCS Valparaiso. Support Aggie student athletes by joining the Aggie Athletic Club. The AAC prepares student athletes for life during and after their careers at NM State. For more info or to join, visit AggieAthleticClub.com. Beasley, Mitchell and Company, certified public accountants, are proud supporters of the Aggies. Bookkeeping, auditing, tax and estate planning and more. Let the experts at Beasley, Mitchell and Company tackle your taxes. Danny, it's going to be a bright future for number 12 in black, Jonathan Brady.
Yeah, Jonathan Brady. You know, at the beginning of the year, we talked about the speed. We talked about his ability to make plays. A couple times you've had some conversations that it's like, hey, now just get him the ball in the open field. He'll do the rest. We've seen it. We saw it last week, and you see it now. And Diego, looks like he kind of audible to that and saw something over there, and he saw it as well, looked right to him all the way, made a perfect pass to Jonathan, and he showed his speed.
A lot of confidence, a lot of poise right now from Diego Pavia at the quarterback position. And I had him on a podcast earlier this week, and we spoke a lot about the game slowing down for him. You go from JUCO to the FBS level, the game moves a little fast early on. It's starting to slow down for Diego, and he's making those reads you're talking about, Danny.
Yeah, you know, and I talked to Coach Beck, the offense coordinator, and said, well, what is it? I talked to you at the beginning of the year. We talked again now, and what all of a sudden came forth from Diego to be able to see everything? And I think he just said it just kind of happens over time. He gets comfortable in the situation, and when he does, he performs at a higher ability.
Apple fakes it to Dawson, fires, it's almost intercepted. A crawling effort from Andre Selden. It was intended for Solomon Davis. Remember, Selden had the pick six in the first quarter 2 games ago.
Yeah, I think he was thinking the same thing right there. He comes out, he's looking all the way down to one guy, and with that, Andre says, let me just break on it right away. Since he's only looking at one guy, I'll jump in front of that, and he almost to the same position, be able to pick that off. He could walk right in.
Selden, of course, the former high school 4-star transfer from Michigan. Heavy pressure from the Aggies on defense. Good catch made by Matt Ross. Makes a man miss before he's shoved down by Cyrus Dumas around the 30. Forward progress up to the 33. A pickup of 8 for Ross on his 33rd catch this year. Good numbers for Ross. Good numbers as well for Solomon Davis, who leads the Beacons in receiving yards and catches. Ross not far behind, though, out of Naperville, Illinois. They officially give him 9, so it's 3rd and 1. Dawson back in the backfield with the redshirt freshman, big quarterback Apple, who's 6'4", 220. Back to throw on 3rd and 1, and it's hauled in by Dawson. He is a good player, playing his final game collegiately as a 5th-year senior.
Yeah, they just needed a couple in there, and so certainly coming out of the backfield, I think Chris Ojo saw him sneaking out there, and you see Chris right to the bottom of your left string there, number 3. He knows that's his guy, but coming out on a very short out pattern makes it hard to get to him, and he was able to make the catch and get the first down. Just not much you can do there. It's just a nice play.
This Aggie defense much improved from a year ago, only giving up 26 points per game. The best number since the Aggies allowed 25 a game in 1999. This is Dawson on the Wildcat. The Aggies not fooled at all. Apple was out wide. Valpo will use that formation, just trying to find a way to get Dawson the ball more often than not.
Yeah, those guys up front, they've had a heck of a season, right? Some ups and downs, a lot of people in there, but you can see that front 4 in there really just sticking their nose down and penetrating in there. There's Islam up front there, just pulling through on everyone, just knocking them all down. You see Donovan King in on that as well. Donovan King's had some couple of really great games here recently as well.
His final game here at Aggie Memorial, 47th career game for Donovan King today. The most by any Aggie active in an Aggie uniform. And Dawson slips. I don't think he was touched before he slipped. Maybe saw a hole and tried to move too quick.
Yeah, we get a lot of guys coming in and off the field there. And one of the, I talked to Coach Rice, who's the safety coach, and he said, I play a lot of guys. And it's true, Adam. Through the year, we've seen a lot of people come in and off the field. It's like, oh, wait a minute, who's in there now? What do we got? And he said, and I tell him, if you get in the game, you better make the most of it because you don't know what's going to happen in the next game or the next series. So I like when they get a lot of guys in there.
Yeah, depth has not been an issue this year for the Aggie defense. Apple, pocket collapses, he throws as he's hit, and it's out of bounds, out of the reach of his intended target, Davis. The Aggies, for the second straight possession on a third down, showing a really good rush on the D-line.
Yeah, great rush in there, and part of that is, flushing the quarterback out, but you also have to be in there to make sure you're maintaining and keeping your guy in line there. We see him flush from the pocket right there. He tries to push one out there, and just not much happening.
Donovan King was there, so was true freshman linebacker Keyshawn Elliott, who's had a good first year collegially.
He's played a lot.
He's played a ton.
He's done good when we've needed to call on him, too.
2 weeks ago, the last home game, he had to play even more than usual because Trevor Brohard was ejected early for targeting. Dixon running to his right. He has some running room on the right side. He spins, and he is taken down around the 15-yard line. Good punt coverage by Valpo. A punt of 42 and a return of 9 yards for the redshirt senior Lawrence Dixon. 50-yard touchdown catch for Jonathan Brady. We had some light rain earlier. The Aggie offense back out for their second possession.
U/go.
Jerry Kill and the Aggies looking for their 5th win in their previous 6. A good start on offense and defense for NM State. It's that exciting time of the year with lots of big games to enjoy. It's also the time of the year when drunk driving crashes and fatalities increase. You can end DWI by designating a driver or arrange a safe ride home for someone who needs it. Stay in the game and designate a driver. Together we can end DWI. Jamani Jones on the carry. He picks up 2 yards. Danny, you spoke to Tim Beck, the Aggie offensive coordinator, earlier this week.
Yeah, when I was speaking with Coach Beck, I said, tell me about the difference between the beginning of the season and where we are today. He said, if you walked in my office, you look at the goals that are up there, you will see the difference from the beginning of the season to where we are. In the beginning, not many goals were being achieved. Last week, lots of goals being achieved. And you can imagine they had a fantastic day offensively.
Yeah, this offense has really, really improved a ton as the year has gone on. Of course, the competition has changed as well. Pavia pulls it and throws. Good ankle tackle made on the catch by Bellamy. That was a great tackle by the cornerback, Max Franco. Gain of 5 for Bellamy.
Yeah, that was a great tackle because if he doesn't grab him, there's no one between him and the goal line but Green.
The Aggies go at tempo. Pavia throws it again, hauled in again by Bellamy. Forward progress will give him the first down. So 2 straight catches for Bellamy, 11 now for the year.
When I was talking to Coach Beck, I said, tell me about Diego. Beginning of the season, it felt like, we're not sure what's going on, what's happening. He said, yes, he's getting more comfortable back there. His confidence is good. But, he said he's always been a high-efficiency passer, meaning he can really put it where he needs to put it. And the beginning of the season, we had some drops, we had some other things, but he said that hasn't changed. He's always been that player. He's just now feeling very confident and understands the offense, and they're making good catches, which are really boding well for the whole offense.
Pavia making his 3rd straight start, fakes it to Amante Watkins. He's going deep, he has a man. It is hauled in by Justice Powers. His first touchdown as an Aggie in his 3rd year as an Aggie on senior day.
Hey, Justin, he's the #1 receiver for us in the number of catches, but he hasn't broke through on a TD. But what a way to break through. Sees him out there, little play action. Look at Coach Sanchez right there, giving him a big hug. Very proud of him. Play action, he steps back. Diego knows what he wants to do with the ball. I'm going deep, I'm going downtown. Justice Powers pulls it in and walks it to the end zone.
Pretty remarkable, Danny, that before that touchdown, Justice Powers, in 3 really good years in the program, did not have a touchdown catch. He has led the Aggies in receiving yards and catches this year. And in his final game here at Aggie Memorial Stadium, the young man from Inglewood, California, hauls it in 69 yards away. All Aggies early on in quarter 1.
If Mark.
Today's regular season finale is presented by Electronic Caregiver, a proud partner of Aggie Athletics. Find them online at electroniccaregiver.com. Western Heritage Bank, a proud supporter of the Aggies. Western Heritage Bank, connected to the community and to you. Find them online at westernheritagebank.com. Danny, I recall a couple of years ago, Jonathan Boone had a big game on senior day. I think it was 2019 maybe. Justice Powers on senior day, he finds the end zone for the first time. It's always good when the seniors get rewarded here in their final game on the turf.
Yeah, no doubt. And you make a big play like that, all the hard work. You see all your friends getting TD receptions. You're happy for them, but you're not as happy. It's like, well, I want one, just one. Give me one. There's a big one right there to really set it up. That's just a great job. Coach Beck has called a great game. And when I spoke to him, Adam, the thing he did mention is, don't forget about my offensive line. That offensive line, Coach Mitchell, the things he's done with that line is incredible. We wouldn't be where we are today if it's not for that offensive line continuing to improve every single day. And he's right. Lots of time in the pocket to make that big throw.
That was the first thing that Diego Pavia talked about earlier this week. He said the best part about last week at Liberty was the play of the offensive line, a group that has grown so much under first-year offensive line coach Andrew Mitchell. We'll get a return here for Jeffrey Vircher, the running back in the return game for Valpo. He's upended at the 20. The Valpo offense has been able to move the football so far, but looking at the Aggie offense, how about these numbers so far for Diego Pavia? 5 for 5, Danny, for 149 and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, and I think that last one, he audibled into it because he looked down, he saw some things happening, he kind of looked at the field, and he has complete control of what's happening, but the numbers, wow, incredible.
Michael Apple, the quarterback for Valpo, he's 5 for 7 for 45 yards so far, so pretty good numbers for him. 4 carries, only 2 yards for Dawson. The tight end Vickers was in motion. Apple's looking for a dump off. He dumps it off to Dawson, who makes another catch. That is Dawson's 3rd catch already. So pretty much the game plan here is get the ball in Dawson's hands any way you can. He picks up 2.
And that's what you do. If they're coming at you and you can't hold the line of scrimmage, you throw it where they came from. So let them through. We'll dump it over top there and just try to get something happening there. Little delayed throw over top. Cyrus Dumas comes screaming in. We've seen him a lot of time. He slowed him up, and Chris Ojo finished him up.
Apple has thrown for almost 2,000 yards during his redshirt freshman season. He has Dawson next to him. Dawson plunges forward past the 25 up to the 27-yard line. A pickup of 3. 3rd down and mid coming up for the Beacons.
For Valpo to come back and come play this game, they've really had to do a lot. You get your mind is set for football this season, and all of a sudden it's shut down, and now it's back on. It's hard to get back in there and get engaged and get in with your coaches, figure out the flow, and try to get it all happening again. So it takes just a little bit. So I think they've done well. They've moved the ball. They were able to do some things here. The defense is very stingy right now, though.
For a guy like Dawson, he thought his career was over 2 weeks ago in a home game against Drake. Apple hit as he throws, and he airmails it over his intended receiver, Contreras. So the Beacons will have to punt once again for the 3rd time today.
We see Bryce Jackson back there in coverage at the strong safety. When I was talking to Coach Rice, his position coach, he said, this guy right here, he really does a lot to help all the rest of the players on the field in his group. And the coaching ability, his maturity shows so much that it's almost like having another coach on the field. And I think that just bodes well for the whole program when you're able to do that.
Nearly blocked. Mathis gets it away. Dixon calls for a fair catch at the 30. And that is where Diego Pavia and this Aggie offense, which has been red hot early, will set up shop. Leading to 14-0. A 43-yard punt that was almost blocked by Mathis. West Star is a proud supporter of the Aggies. Find them online at weststarbank.com. This is similar to 2 weeks ago and really last week as well, Danny. Yep. You could not script a much better start here.
Right, and Diego is playing great. He's putting up big numbers. One of the things that we did see last week is that he's making a lot of plays himself. And I'll tell you a little story Coach was telling me after this play.
First play is a pass again. Cordell David, his 2nd catch, streaking down the far sideline. It's a foot race for David, and he outruns the defender, Austin Chilton. Touchdown, David. 70-yard strike from Pavia, who has thrown for almost 220 yards in the first quarter.
Play action. Early on, I talked to Coach Sanchez, and I was asking about Cordell, and I said, tell me about him. It seems like he's hurt there, and he's been a little bit banged up for that. He said, that guy has some wheels. He has some speed. You watch out for him. Well, right there, they better watch out. Play action, had a little post pattern coming back across the middle, hits him in stride, and he shows us that speed right there that Coach Sanchez was talking about.
First drive was 3 plays, second drive 4 plays, third drive 1 play. Diego Pavia has thrown for 219 yards. He is 6 for 6, Danny. My goodness.
Well, when it's working, it's all working. That's fantastic, and Diego showed his arm. He showed his move last week. The story I was going to tell you about is, Coach says, Diego did good, and for coaching, our job is to get the guys in the right position. Sometimes we get them in the right position and things just don't work out. A 4th and 2, Diego's in the game. They come back, they're in his face, and he throws moves on 2 guys, and he actually gets the first down. He said, that's not me, that's a player.
Yep.
Coaches coach, put him in the position, but players have to play. And Diego, he's a player, he's a gamer, he is a competitive guy, and man, he is just continuing where he left off last week.
These numbers already better than a week ago for Diego Pavia. Hasn't had to run the football like he did a week ago against Liberty. Hasn't been needed yet. His wide receiver is doing a great job, and they're having fun. This is fun football right now for the Aggies, already bowl eligible, trying to head to a bowl game with wins in 5 of 6. Started this season 0-4, then they were 1-5, and now they're trying to go to 6-2 since the 0-4 starts. Vercher will return it again about 2 yards deep. And he is tripped up by Gibson, the transfer from TCU. High school students, New Mexico State University has a variety of financial aid options to help pay for school. Do not delay. Now's your chance to pursue your higher education dream. Go to apply.nmsu.edu. There's Javion Gibson, a linebacker who transferred in from TCU, who has been really good on special teams, and he will be a big part of the Aggie defense going forward. 50-yard touchdown catch Brady, 69-yard touchdown catch Powers, 70-yard touchdown catch for Cordell David. Apple will whip it out, catch is made. That is Jordan Bingham. Gains 9 yards up to the 24-yard line.
Yeah, I see that coach is moving in a lot of players defensively, starting to move guys around, get some extra time in there. So it's nice to see that, but you still expect them to do their job. So even though this is their time to get on the field, and yes, you're up by 21, it doesn't matter, because when you get on the field, the coaches still expect you to do the things that they coach you to do. So it'll be nice to get more people on the field.
Valpo is averaging 3 yards per play. The Aggies are averaging almost 30 yards per play. Apple goes down again. Brought down from behind. There is Lazarus Williams, who now has 10.5 sacks in 2 years as an Aggie, 7.5 this year to pace the Aggies.
Yeah, he's the sack leader for sure. Last week he played very good too. I think it's one of the guys we may have overlooked just a little bit, but on some key plays this year, Lazarus has been the guy that has been on the ball right there. He's lengthy, he's long, he reaches out. You can see him just reach out and pull him down. He's strong as well.
15-yard penalty, automatic first down. That's number 10 and number 25's first unsportsmanlike conduct penalty of the game.
That's an unsportsmanlike or Lama Levea. So that will help out the Valpo offense, and Jerry Kill will talk to Williams and Levea as they head off the field.
But Lazarus, he has had a great year. I think we just not have shown him, I know I haven't up here, enough love, because I think he's just had a fantastic year, and he's just done some great things on that line. And without that defensive line up front, it really makes it harder on the linebackers.
It was a post-game celebration that led to that, or a post-play celebration that led to that. Apple, home run ball downfield. He has a man, but it's overthrown. He was looking for Matt Ross. Coverage from Dumas. You can have fun out there, Danny, but if it leads to a penalty, you need to tone it down a little bit.
You still have to go back to the sidelines after the penalty and reckon with the coach after that, and he's not going to be happy no matter what. Even if you said, my bad, coach, it's like it doesn't matter. You know better. That's not what we're all about. It happens sometimes.
And if you're Jerry Kill, you're probably telling Lama Lavea that can't happen in a bowl game.
Yeah.
So you need to clean that up now and make sure wherever we go in a couple of weeks, that does not happen again. Aaron Dawson's in the backfield with the quarterback, Apple. Apple will throw, and he has a man almost breaking free. Solomon Davis, his team best 40th catch this year. Redshirt junior from Tennessee.
Sets him up in that middle slot position there, and when you spread the Aggies out like they are right now, and you get a lot of people coming in, you got Mike Miller in there. It's at a safety position right there. You can see it here on the bottom of your screen. It's going to be coming across there. He runs that little crossing route inside, and if you have the help and he's got him positioned to his back, that play's hard to stop, so you really have to jump it early.
17-yard connection. Apple's had a pretty good first quarter. Wildcat again for Dawson as Apple motions out wide. The Aggies read it well. Chris Ojo the first there. Buda Paletti able to finish off the tackle after the 4-yard scamper for Dawson. Chris Ojo playing his final game here in the Aggie Memorial Turf. Team leader in tackles and tackles for loss.
Remember at the beginning of the year where it was like, well, is Chris Ojo, is he gonna enter the portal? Is he gonna stay with Coach Kill and the staff coming in here? I am certainly glad he stayed because he's really kind of helped this defense.
That'll finish off the first quarter. The Aggies go for 235 total yards in the first quarter. Touchdown catches of 50 yards by Brady, 69 yards by Power, 70 yards by David, 21 zip through one.
When we work together, we have the power to create.
A great first half for the Aggies. They lead FCS Valpo 21-0. Adam Young, Danny Nee, Tatiana Favela with you. And for more Valpo, we send it down to Tatiana.
Well, what a crazy week it's been for Aggie football, trying to add that last-minute game to get their 12th regular season game and also their sixth home game of the season. Now, Valparaiso, the opponent that led the Aggies to this game, is also playing a historic game for their program today. Today's not only the first ever game between NM State and Valpo, but it's also the first ever game against an FBS opponent for Valpo. The Beacons reside in Valparaiso, Indiana, and play in the FCS Pioneer League. The Pioneer League is an FCS that does not offer athletic scholarships, and this is only the 4th time ever that a school from the Pioneer League has played an FBS program. Back to you all.
Thank you, Tatiana. All sideline reports are brought to you by Memorial Medical Center. Their head coach, Landon Fox, you just saw, he said the opportunity to play in FBS, it was a very easy decision to say, yes, let's do it. Apple slings it downfield, and it's almost intercepted. Miami of Ohio transfer Mekhi Miller almost had his first pick as an Aggie.
Man, he's going to want that one back for sure because it hit him right in the hands. He should have had that great positioning. He's playing as deep as the receiver. He turns and runs, and he has his back to him, and he's kind of shielding him, using that sidelines to help in protection. You see him right there, perfect position. Oh, that's a pick all day long.
This has been Valpo's best drive so far. The game offensively, 7 plays, 44 yards on the drive so far. For Apple and the Beacons offense, they are 2 for 5 on third down. Line to gain is the 36. Nearly a sack again. The pass is low, and a flag comes in late. A flag comes in late near the quarterback, Apple. Our referee today is Kyle McNeil, Mountain West crew. McNeil was also the referee the last home game against Lamar.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, number 98, defense, high hit, target. 15 yards from previous spot, automatic first down. The previous play is under further review.
That's on Isaiah Reed, who had a sack on third down earlier, so they will review this and see if targeting is upheld.
Well, that's too bad because those are the types of penalties that you want. First get but it's not a disqualifying one.
There's been 2 pretty big penalties on this drive, though. leading to 30 yards of penalty yards against the Aggies. So now Valpo's at the 27. They're trying to strike here. Good throw by Apple. Great coverage in the end zone by Mekhi Miller. Pass was intended for Davis, the top receiver this year for Valpo.
Yeah, Miller in great coverage again. This is a base defense that they're playing there, so he's the guy. He's got half that field back there, and so he's got to be the deep as anyone in his zone. So let's see, he's back there. He comes over and breaks that ball up. That's just good position right there. It's a good pass, but great position as well for the Aggies.
Second down and 10 for Valpo. Pistol back is Dawson. Design keeper for Apple, and Chris Ojo rips off the helmet of the quarterback, Apple, as he makes the tackle. Chris Ojo, as fiery as ever, plays with so much passion, Danny.
And you need that passion if you're playing in the middle there. You need someone like Chris Ojo. Chris had us involved in a turnover last week where he tipped the ball. He's just around the ball. He just likes to be near the action where the ball is, whether it's going to be a pass or a run, and he's coming up. He's played as strong as anyone has in that two linebacker set. Him and Trevor are both absolute great performers this year for the Aggies.
The helmet came off for Apple, so backup quarterback Jeffrey Jackson has to come in for this play on third down. And it looks like Valpo is going to be penalized.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 68, offense. 5-yard penalty, remain, third down.
Well, this could be what happens when you bring in a new quarterback and you don't have the continuity you had in the first quarter.
Yeah, timing's not there. You just can't get it all together and put together, and you end up with penalties that's costing you, getting you out of position here.
Maybe out of field goal range as well. That could be costly, a 5-yard penalty. Jackson, the quarterback, a redshirt senior from San Diego who transferred in from San Diego. 6'1", 200-pounder. 5 for 9 for the year. Only his 10th pass all year, and it's batted down. Lazarus Williams using his length again at 6'5", 270.
It's tough when those arms get up there and they're trying to get the little crossing pattern where you're going to spread everyone out like they've had some success with, but Lazarus puts his big arms up, can't get to the quarterback, but he knows he can affect the play by getting in there. You see him at the right of your screen right there, coming in there untouched, gets his arm up. It was going to be a quick pass, so he wasn't going to be able to get to the quarterback, but he had those arms up, those lengthy arms.
So this will be a 49-yard field goal try for Brian Bartholomew out of Sugar Grove, Illinois. His season long is 50. Missed twice last game against Drake. And the kick is good as it sneaks through a low line drive kick. Bartholomew from 49 yards away. Well, it wasn't pretty, but it works for Valpo. Landon Fox and the Beacons have some points, 21-3, with a minute into the second quarter.
You know, I like what I read when they were talking to Coach Fox about this game, and he said, you know, I want us to have that team that's willing to play anyone, anywhere. You tell us where, we'll show up, and we'll go get them. And I like that about a coach. I like that it says, you know what, let's take them. Let's go. Let's go to Cruces and play them.
With online ordering from Whataburger, it's never been easier to customize your cravings, save your favorites for quick reordering, and also earn tasty rewards. Download the Whataburger app and start earning today. Building off that too, Danny, Landon Fox was talking earlier this week about mimicking an FCS playoff game down the road. So for the young guys who will return for Valpo, if you make the FCS playoffs, you're going to play in December in a meaningful game against a really good opponent. And he feels like playing this game, their first ever FBS foe, that kind of mimics an FCS playoff game.
Yep, I totally agree. I think all coaches really like to play late in the season, giving them more practice time.
And the winner of the Pioneer Football League earns a spot in the FCS playoffs, so Valpo could play for that down the road. That was Jonathan Brady on the return, and we'll get our fourth look at the Aggie offense. They are 3 for 3 on touchdowns, all passing from Pavia. And he has spread it around well with David, Powers, and Brady all catching touchdown passes. That previous drive for Valpo was pretty good. I mean, it was aided by a couple of penalties.
They had a couple penalties in there, but don't take anything away from them. They moved the ball quite well. They spread the Aggies out and were able to throw the ball in there and get it into some key areas.
Aggies going in the air a lot. They haven't had to run the football much in the first quarter plus. They will run it here with Jamani Jones, who's coming off his best game as an Aggie. 74 rushing yards on 13 carries a week ago at Liberty.
That's a lot of carries. 13 carries, 74 yards, and a TD, and he's still splitting some of the carries with Star Thomas. There's just a lot. That offense has had all cylinders firing, both receiving and rushing.
That run right there for Jones, his 99th rush this year, so he is one shy of 100, leading the Aggies in carries in his first year in the program. 2nd and 7 for Pavia. Fakes it to Jones, front side pressure, gets away, uses his legs again, fires it downfield, has a man. Foot race for Childress. The St. Louis native Bryce Childress into the end zone. Diego Pavia, his 4th passing touchdown in half one.
That is just a great job by Diego right there, and for Bryce for staying with the pass pattern as well. Diego gets out of trouble. Little play action. You see it right here, kind of a naked boot, meaning no one's out there blocking for him. He's open. I thought he was going to run it right there, but you can see his eyes continuing to look downfield. Bryce stays with his guy. He breaks away a little bit and waves his hand, and Diego just picks him right there, open for a TD.
Point after is good for Ethan Albertson. 72-yard touchdown catch for Childress. His first touchdown catch as an Aggie. Diego Pavia, 7 for 7 for 291 here in half one. 309 yards of total offense for the Aggies, only 74 so far for Valpo. 291 of those 309 through the air from Albuquerque native Diego Pavia, who is 7 for 7 so far through the air. Well, Danny, we haven't had many December games here at Aggie Memorial over the years. We flash back to December 2nd, 2017. The Aggies defeated South Alabama to earn bowl eligibility. It was a great football game, and it was one of the best days in the history of this program, wasn't it?
It was so much fun, and Larry Rose and team was electrifying in both this game and the bowl as well. They just didn't know how to quit. They just did a fantastic job, and it was so much fun.
Anthony Muse, a catch right here. Jaleel Scott had a good game as well. There's the Anthony Muse touchdown catch. And then Connor Kramer on his birthday, the game winner with about 40 seconds left. And that sent Aggie Memorial into a frenzy. The Aggies are bowl bound now for the 2nd time in 5 years, but it's also the 2nd time in 61 years if you go back to 1960. It's been a while, but things are certainly trending up right now for the program, no doubt about it. Jerry Kill has taken this thing over, and it was about a year and I think it was 3 days ago. So a year and 3 days ago, and Jerry had his presser, and Danny, since then, he has worked his tail off with his coaching staff, and they're in position to go to 6-6, which is remarkable.
It is remarkable, and going to a bowl game, and it's a lot of work. I couldn't even fathom the amount of time that these guys put in there. So when I talk to some of these coaches, it's at the end of a long day that they've been out there going at it, and things aren't going well, and they're not winning, and everyone is down on them, and they know they're doing the right things. They know the input is good, but the output's not there. Well, it's starting to turn around now.
Catch is made by Davis on another good throw by Apple. Gain of 8. Jerry Kill said during his intro presser, he said nobody will outwork our coaching staff, and he has been true to his word, as he has been in so many different ways.
You know, every coach I've talked to along the way through the season, you know, I ask about, well, what about this? Tell me about this. And they have stayed true to whatever Coach Kill and his strategy is. They have said, look, Coach Steele has said, this is what we're going after, and this is why we're doing it. And they've all echoed the same thing, which shows me that it's a strong leadership that he has.
Prior to a stat, false start, number 78, offense. 5-yard penalty, play 2nd down.
Another false start on Valpo, and this is on Keith Shapansky, the right tackle. They had Dawson in the Wildcat, so that probably threw things off.
There you see at the top of the screen right there to the left side, little jump right there.
Let's see if Valpo stays in the Wildcat or if Apple is back in the shotgun, and the quarterback Apple is back in the shotgun. Pistol back is Dawson. 3 out wide for Valpo. Tight end is Vickers, wing right. Davis in motion. Apple will pull it. Apple throws. Another catch made. Contreras on this one, junior from Hillsdale, Illinois. Apple is 9 for 15 for 80-plus yards. He's looked pretty sharp here in half one for an FCS quarterback.
That was a good play right there. Little play action right there. Pops up, kind of a post through the middle there. He sees that it's kind of man in that man-man position, and he shields him from the back, and Cyrus just couldn't get there in time to make a play.
There's been some bright spots for the Valpo offense here in the first half. Their defense has struggled, though. Dawson in the Wildcat gets away from a tackle, and he's tripped up by Brohard. Trevor Brohard playing in his 36th career game, his final game here at home.
Have we called some great games? Trevor has had a fantastic career as an Aggie. His heart and soul is in every play when he's on the field, and it's been so much fun to watch him play and to hear the stories that come from his hard work. It's just great to be an Aggie and know that guys like that are representing our university.
Player down for Valpo, that is Stone Dixon at left guard, a redshirt junior from Cincinnati. And the training staff will come out and attend to him.
Timeout on the field.
11:09 left in the second quarter. The Aggie offense is humming. 28-3 the score. We're back to Aggie Memorial in the regular season finale after this.
If Mark
Back with you here at Aggie Memorial Stadium. 28-3 the score. Dawson with the carry right there for Valpo. 8th carry of the first half for Dawson, only for 18 yards so far. 3rd down and 4 coming up. Danny, the Aggie defense trying to get a stop early on in quarter 2.
You saw Coach Dreiling there on the sidelines. He's done an incredible job. So even though we're up by 28, he didn't look happy because they've had some opportunities to shut him down and we haven't been able to close the door. And I think he's expecting that they're still going to be doing everything he's coached them to do at 100%.
Valpo needs the Aggie 47-yard line. Apple looking left, and he is wrapped up and swung down. Sack for Tyrese Thomas, the sophomore out of Cedar Hill, Texas.
Well, let's watch the middle right there. Lots of action going on, but it's just determination. They just didn't stay with him, and he just pursued. Didn't have to do a lot, little pushing in there, and you can see he's a big guy that if you don't block him, he's going to take it to you. That's a great job right there.
So many guys have played a big role. Thomas, only a sophomore. Not one of the Aggie starters. The Aggies showing off depth again on defense. And they continue to get to the quarterback, which they did a week ago against Liberty. Selden almost got to the punter. Dixon with a head of steam, and he is tripped up.
How good has Dixon been back there at receiving punts? You know, there's been some games in the past where we've always been like, oh, crap, they're going to kick the ball. Oh, no, are we going to be able to handle the punt? This is one of the toughest positions to be in because you're looking straight up at the ball, as you saw right there, where guys are barreling down full speed, and they're looking to put the leather to you, and you have to make the catch with confidence, and he's been able to do that. It's just incredible, and he's done a great job, had some great returns as well.
It takes a full team effort, doesn't it? I mean, you can't overlook things like that help the Aggies win football games. Diego Pavia back to work. 7 for 7 for 291, 4 touchdowns. Every possession has been quick on offense. The helmet flies off. Star Thomas on the carry. The Aggies haven't run the football great, but they've passed it great so far. Their first scoring drive was 3 plays. Their second scoring drive, 4 plays. Their third scoring drive, 1 play. And then their fourth scoring drive, Danny, was only 2 plays. So there hasn't been many plays on offense, yet there's 28 points on the scoreboard.
Yeah. And you know, Star Thomas, he had a receiving touchdown last week as well. I mean, that's just amazing, the things that he's been able to do.
It was Tomas Whitford who had his helmet fly off as the rain starts to fall. It was light drizzle right before kickoff. Pavia, tons of running room. Diego Pavia near the 45-yard line. He runs for a first down.
It's tough. There's so many different weapons that New Mexico State has. You have the running backs we talked about, Starr and Jones back there. All the receivers that received. We have 4 different receivers with long touchdowns. You have to worry about them. But in addition to all those things, you have to worry about a quarterback draw. Diego has shown that he can do it with his legs, as you see right there. And he's got some great moves.
19-yard explosion for Pavia, who ran for 100-plus a week ago. He hasn't had to run the football at all so far today. It's a light drizzle here at Aggie Memorial. Pavia throws it again. High catch by Jonathan Brady. He's tripped up at the 40-yard line by Colin Graves, the safety. Second catch and half one for the freshman for Vegas.
Diego sits in the pocket back there. He's getting pressure in his face, and he's still able to get that ball off with accuracy. And Coach talked about the efficiency and his accuracy of his passing right there. You see it right between 2 guys that he has to just thread that ball through, and he's just done a great job at that.
16-yard pickup for Jonathan Brady on the catch and run. He had a touchdown catch earlier for the 2nd straight week. Pavia pulls it, slant route, incomplete. David, the intended receiver, flag comes in as David was hit by Chilton, the linebacker.
Little play action. We've seen this again, a little post in there that's going to come right between the safety and the corner. And the safety just takes a little liberty and just pops him, gives a little, hey, this is my area that you're going to run in, but that's going to cost you.
Pass interference, number 3, defense. Ball be placed at the spot of the foul, automatic first down.
You know, Diego has spread the ball around so much, Adam. When I was talking with Coach Beck, I said, you know, as a defensive guy, I'm always thinking as I'm watching the game, what is he going to run? What would I do? How would I cover him? What guy is it going to be? Is it going to be the tight end, a running back? And he mixes it up or makes it very hard, and it spreads the ball around to a lot of people.
Pavia is already over 300 yards passing in the first quarter and a half. He fires, he has a man, it's Brady again, his 3rd catch, his 2nd during this drive, and he's wrapped up by Graves, the linebacker.
You spread them out, they're in man coverage, he sees us in man coverage. If he runs a little slant or any inside route where the defender is to his back, and there's enough room in there that Diego, with as efficient as he's been passing, can thread that ball in there, which is exactly what happened.
All the way down to the 16-yard line. 3 receivers on the near side, none to the top side. Running back is Starr Thomas. Pavia pulls, front side pressure to the end zone. He had a man, but he overthrew Childress, who had a touchdown catch moments ago.
See, if I was thinking, I was looking at Coach Beck and what he was calling, what he was doing, I thought they would for sure end up going to Tomas at a tight position there. This pattern was open on the fade, but you ended up in man coverage, and you had a smaller guy out there on Tomas at the tight end. And last week, man, he trucked some people when he caught the ball.
There's been so many big plays here in the first half. This is the Aggies' first time in the red zone. Eric Marsh in motion. They give it to Starr Thomas. He navigates inside the 10-yard line, down near the first down. He's going to be about 1.5 yards shy. He gets 8.5 yards near the marker. Aggies go at tempo, 3rd down and 2. Tight end is Whitford, running back is Thomas. Penalty marker comes in as the rain falls here at Aggie Memorial.
False start, number 54, offense. 5-yard penalty, remain 3rd down.
3rd penalty on the Aggies here in the first half. The first on the offense, though, that's on redshirt junior Isaiah Mercelat. You can see the flinch right there from Mercelat. So that pushes the ball back to the 13-yard line. 3rd and 7. The Aggies 1 for 1 on 3rd down. They need the 6-yard line. Motion man is Brady. They fake the jet sweep to him. Pavia under pressure, spins to his left. Running room for Pavia. He's going to run for it. Open space, Pavia inside the pylon. Running touchdown for Diego. Rushing touchdown number 6 for Diego Pavia, his 4th in the previous 2 games.
You know, that's all Diego right there. As Coach talked about, we get players in the right position, but sometimes you need players just to make play. Everyone is covered downfield. Nothing you can do. Someone leaked through. He spins out of it, keeps his eyes downfield. But see, there's no one after accounting for Diego, so it's like, I'm going to keep the ball and I'm going to walk this one in. Not quite that easy, but he makes it look that easy.
So we really did not see Diego's legs use much in the first quarter. A little more here in quarter 2. Pavia 13 yards away, 35-3 and M State. Seven plays, 75 yards. The longest scoring drive today for the Aggie offense, covering 3 minutes and 11 seconds. Diego Pavia, number 10 right there in black, a 13-yard touchdown run on 3rd down and 7. Sports Accessories is now the official licensed merchandise provider for the Aggies, and they have the best Aggie gear in town at the best price. Check out their showroom in Las Cruces or visit the online store at theaggieshop.com. Danny, numbers-wise, there is no hotter quarterback around the country the previous 2 weeks than Diego Pavia.
Yeah, he is. He's hot. He's running the ball. He's throwing the ball. He's been involved in every single touchdown we've had, and yet there's still things to be cleaned up. The previous shot, we saw Coach Sanchez, who's a wide receiver coach, a former Aggie as well, sitting with Diego and the receivers. I'm trying to understand, well, why was everyone covered? How come we couldn't get that pattern and get some open people? So even though he got the touchdown, it was a broken play, they're still trying to perfect what they're doing and trying to clean it up. But in terms of a hot quarterback, man, he is hot.
Last week, Diego Pavia became the first FBS player in 3 years to pass for 3 touchdowns, rush for 3 touchdowns, and run for 100-plus yards in a single game. And now here today, he is 9 for 10 for 323 in the air, 4 touchdowns, no picks. And on the ground, he has run for 32 and a score. So I don't think he's going to stay in the entire game today. I'm sure probably only a half of football for Diego, but these numbers are even better than a week ago. Yeah,
and you know, last week, and for the award, the Manning Award, he was up against some tough competition. There was a quarterback from Missouri, from Texas Tech, and so he stood his ground. I know we're out there. The Nee family was certainly voting for him because he had a heck of a game.
Yeah, he was the Manning Award Star of the Week, best quarterback nationally. He was also the CFPA National Performer of the Week a week ago, the National Latino Player of the Week. And maybe the best pub was he got a helmet sticker on ESPN College Football Final from Jesse Palmer. That was a big deal. Good coverage. There's B.J. Schulark, who was able to bat away that pass from Apple.
Just great positioning right there, your body position. The cornerback is, you're on an island, sometimes you're out there, and you have to have confidence to say, I'm man on man, but I'm going to stick my arm in there and knock that ball down. That's just great coverage.
It looks like the rain has pretty much stopped. It was a light drizzle. It was also a light drizzle before kickoff. Dawson wrapped up immediately. He is buried by Donovan King, who is playing in his 47th career game here on Senior Day.
You know, Donovan King, the last few games, he has really come on strong. I mean, he's been strong all along, but he's really shown that he is the guy. And he's a big guy at 6'3", 255, and he can wreak a lot of havoc in there.
Aggies, by the way, they won the toss, but they deferred to half 2, so the Aggies will get the football to start half 2. Final 5:45 in half 1. Aggies ahead 35-3. They rush a handful. Apple throws it, and it is incomplete. Dawson had a hand on it. I don't know how Apple got the ball away. Donovan King was right there again, rushing up the middle.
Was receiving there.
Yeah, that's the play they've come back to, the screen where they're just going to let the linemen through since they've, haven't been able to block them too much anyway. Is let them through, then we'll just dump it in behind him there and let's see what happens. So here they all come. You have 4 guys at the quarterback. He dumps it over top. He could have had some extra running room there if he can just catch that, but their problem was that everyone's in his face.
Apple able to use his size at 6'4" to get rid of it and not have the pass deflected. Jonathan Brady is now returning punts for the Aggies, so a chance here to see the future. And this is what a game like this does as well. Lawrence Dixon's a redshirt senior, so this will be his final regular season game. And, of course, you have the bowl game coming up. But Jonathan Brady could be the punt returner in the future, Danny, so get him some game looks here on the regular season finale now.
Yeah, I think it's the right thing to do because it's very different to be back there, even though you catch him during practice, not the same as game day.
50-yard punt for Mathis. Aggie offense back to work at the 25-yard line. The offense has been spectacular. 380 yards of total offense in half one. 323 in the air, 57 on the ground. Valpo has 0 rushing yards, by the way. They faked to give, and Pavio's dropped. Pavia hit immediately. Kevin Spellman read it all the way, the redshirt freshman from New Lenox, Illinois. His 6th sack of the year.
Now the run pass option, he's running a little RPO in there and he's looking downfield. You can see him down there trying to read, and he was going to pull it out and throw the ball right there. You see the top that he was going to dump it to, but he just didn't have enough time to get the ball out.
Best play defensively here in the first half for Valpo. Spellman, the team leader in sacks and tackles for loss. Valpo's given up 27 points per game this year. Pavia on 2nd down and 13. Here comes the rush again. It is almost intercepted. Anthony Sharoni, the linebacker from Columbus, Ohio, was juggling the football.
Yeah, that's a hot route, so you got to get it out to your guy that's back there who's going to release and be able to do something with that one. It was Amani Watkins who was going to be released. You see him from the right of the screen coming out there, and Diego knows that there's too much pressure. Things have fallen apart. Go to my relief route right over top, but he almost got it picked for 6.
Valpo trying to finish off their best defensive possession so far. The Aggies have scored on every offensive possession so far. The Aggies need the 35-yard line. Pavia will change the play at the line. Tight end is J.J. Jones. 3 out wide. Pavia lofts it downfield, and Bryce Childress had a beat on it. Just could not haul it in. Almost had it down to the 35-yard line.
So I think Valpo's finding a way to say, look, the way we're going to affect this offense is not give Diego any time to make any plays. So I'm going to bring more guys than they have to block, which is exactly what they did. They couldn't block everyone, but it leaves you in man coverage. And so we have very fast receivers, and we just couldn't get the ball into them. But that's what happened that last series. They've just said, look, no more of Diego running around. We're going to stop that and go get him.
Josh Carlson, his first punt today. He's not had a punt a lot the last couple of weeks. Graves is back deep. He backpedals at the 25-yard line, and he's upended by Gibson. A couple of tackles in the first half for Javion Gibson on special teams. There's a marker down, though. 51-yard punt for Carlson.
You see it right there, great coverage. Look how many Aggies are in there. And the whole trick to covering a punt is that you got to stay in your lane, and then at the end you come together to really push or pinch the receiver. If you leave your lane too fast, that receiver can catch the punt and spin out, and there's no one in a lane, and he's off to the races. Great coverage by the Aggies on that one.
A long discussion here among the officials, and now Kyle McNeil has the call. Well, there's more confusion, so they might meet again. Jerry Kill is waiting at the 40-yard line for an explanation. Josh Carlson right next to Jerry Kill right there. I think they're trying to figure out where the football should be.
Illegal formation, defense, defender covering up the snapper. That 5-yard penalty is declined. The result of the play, punt with first down, New Mexico State.
Well, that's a call you don't hear very often,
Correct.
so that is why they had to figure things out there, Danny.
Yeah, and the whole objective of that call or the penalty was that if you have a snapper, his head's down, you can't line anyone up over top. No, dumping the centers and all the things that we do in our backyard. You can't do those things, and so it's covered up, and that's what that is. There was a lot of discussion for that penalty, though.
And that is after the first punt for Carlson. So now the Valpo offense is back to work, trying to finish off half one on a high note. Michael Apple, 9 for 17, 88 yards. No rushing yards for Valpo because of all the Aggie sacks. And here's another one. No, Apple able to get rid of it at the very last second. Gabe Peterson almost had him for his second career sack.
Yeah, Gabe Peterson, a true freshman. He is playing a lot, and that's just great defense right there. Has him in his grasp and just can't get him down. He swings him around twice, and he gets the ball off, and so there's no sack there, but nice pressure. You see him right there from the bottom of your screen, kind of sneaking in with his shoulder, dip that shoulder, get into the backfield, and just cause havoc when you do.
Apple, a big guy to take down at 6'4", 220. Now the rain starts to fall a little bit harder here at Aggie Memorial. Probably the hardest it's been all day. Dawson motions to the right of Apple. And a marker comes in, or a timeout is called. Yeah, timeout is called here with 4:09 left, so no penalty marker. A timeout is called with 4:09 left here in the first half.
Well, that rain's coming in. I thought for sure we dodged the rain, and earlier it came through, sprinkle a little bit. It's like, oh, I'm done, but now not so much. Here's Gabe Peterson.
Okay, so it's an official's timeout to review this play to see if Peterson got Apple down on a knee. Yeah, at the naked eye, initially I thought maybe that was the case, and here on review it looks like he should be down for a sack.
That's a great shot right there. You can see the knee making contact right there.
So if the call is reversed,
after further review,
Peterson's second
the quarterback's
sack.
knee was down on the 19-yard line prior to the pass. The ball be placed at the 19-yard line, second down.
That's a big play.
It's a big play
for the freshman from Overland Park, Kansas, who continues to impress. Had an offer from SEMO and H. Reiling. The Aggie first-year defensive coordinator was a position coach at SEMO, and when H. Reiling got this job, he went back to Gabe Peterson and said, you want to come here? And Gabe came, and he's been really good in that stud position, that rushing end position in year one in the program.
Yeah, he's played a lot, too.
He beat out a couple of returners to start from day one. His father, Ben, played in the NFL. A little too high for the wide receiver, Davis. I don't know if you saw the videos in the preseason, Danny. Gabe Peterson in the weight room, he came in college ready.
Yeah. Like to see that. Those are guys saying, you know what, I'm going to come and I'm going to have an impact. I'm going to make an impact. I'm not just going to show up and be one of the bubbas. I'm going to get out there and do something and get on the field, and he has.
The Aggies run this 4-2-5 defense, and Peterson has shined as a true freshman. 3rd and 19 for Valpo. 4 first-half sacks for the Aggies, including the Peterson sack moments ago. They swing it out. Catch is made by Labus, the running back. Well short of the first down yardage needed, so Valpo will punt with 3:40 left after a 6-yard pickup for Labus.
Nick Jackalone getting in on the action a little bit in there, coming in for Chris's position at that Will backer in there. Out to the right of your screen, you see it, a quick dump out there, and he comes in there, makes a sure tackle, grabs that feet, and wraps him up.
Jackalone, a redshirt sophomore from Venice, Florida. One of the holdovers from the previous staff. So the Aggies will get the football back late in the first half. This is a low kick, not a very good one for Mathis. Lawrence Dixon is back deep, so he's back there again, returning punts after Brady was out there for the previous Mathis punt. And the punt goes 41 yards after the bounce.
I thought for sure he was going to make a play on that punt, and he has caught some in traffic that it's like, I can't believe he's doing that, and I thought this was going to be one of them, but it's good he walked away.
Especially when the ball's a little wet right now, too, with the rain. And I'm sure the turf is slick.
Yep.
Probably changes your mindset.
You know, a lot of these things, you don't want injuries when you're going to get a bowl. Hopefully you get a bowl. We haven't talked about that too much, but hopefully we will. And you don't want an injury at this game making it so you can't play in the next game.
Pavia fakes it left, looking downfield, and he had nobody. Read well by the secondary for Valpo. The Aggies were hopeful that the receiver, Justice Powers, could slip behind the defense, and Valpo read it well.
Yeah, I think they're sitting back there deep saying, no, you're not going to throw any deep on us anymore. And so that was just a little a pump and go. So he was going to stop. You're going to pump him. Everyone would jump the route, and then he'll continue on back there. But they said, no, that's not happening. And the thing I was going to mention before is that, when you get to games like this, you sometimes it's hard when you're saying, I don't want to get hurt. What about this? What about that? I think when you're on the field, no matter what happens, you play hard every single time, and the chances of being hurt are less that way.
Empty backfield for Pavia. 5 out wide on 2nd down and 10. Pavia steps back. He points. Pointing towards Jonathan Brady. Now rolling right. He's going to run. Flag comes in. He cuts up field across midfield. Running left. Diego Pavia running room. Down the far sideline to the 10. To the end zone. He stumbled in front of the pylon. He's in for a touchdown. We'll check on the marker back at the 25-yard line. And Pavia came up limp as well. Pavia in a lot of pain around the 5-yard line. Just as you were talking about injuries, you try to stay away from that in a game like this, especially with the turf being slick, and he slipped right past the 5-yard line near the end of the run.
So there's no one open. He's making as much as he can
Blocking the
back there.
Number 78 on the offense. 10 yards from the previous spot, replay, 2nd down.
So you see him right there running full speed. It looks like he's opening it up. Everything is fine. But right at the very end, right there.
His legs gave out. So Pavia is able to limp off the field on his own without any help. But the play comes all the way back because of the block in the back. So negate everything there by Pavia. Now the Aggies have to make a quarterback change late in half one. I'm sure we were going to see Gavin Frakes to start half two anyway, but now he comes in with 2:31 left here in the first half. So Gavin Frakes enters, true freshman from Norman, Oklahoma. He's played a ton this year. In fact, he's made 5 starts. 50 out of 100, 678 through the air, 4 touchdowns, 7 picks, and also 2 rushing touchdowns for Gavin. Low snap, but he handles. Frakes whistles it out of bounds. Intended for the running back, Jamani Jones, on a wheel route.
Now, we've seen Gavin get back in there, and he's very confident coming in as a freshman, and he's thrown some great passes. We've seen his arm all the way from one side of the field to the other, right down the middle. He's put it right between guys. So in terms of arm strength, he's got great arm strength. We've even seen him take it out of the pocket and run it himself. So he's a very capable running quarterback as well.
Pavia went to the medical tent on the sideline, so he did not go to the locker room yet. 3rd and 20 for Gavin Frakes. Frakes navigates, throws it downfield. He has power, is able to readjust. Aggies looking for a flag, and they'll get one. That'll go on Caleb Rao, the redshirt freshman cornerback who was pulling on Powers.
And that's great awareness by Powers as he's back there and he sees that Gavin is scrambling, ducks under one right there, and he sees him downfield there, and he comes back to make a play through the defender, and that's where the interference comes.
The officials also having some issues today getting calls in. They're going to huddle up and chat before the referee, Cal McNeil, relays the call to the crowd. Here's a look at 4th-year Valpo head coach Landon Fox. And Cal McNeil had a check on a number.
There's no foul for pass.
Oh, wow.
3rd down.
So there's no pass interference, and Tony Sanchez, the Aggies wide receivers coach, fired up.
4th down.
Not happy with that. No call, if you will. You don't see that very often where they pick up the flag on pass interference.
Right, so let's take a look at it right here. So there's the ball. He's coming back to make a play on the ball.
I guess they could say it's uncatchable.
Yeah, but it's close enough that I would think that he would have a chance if the defender wasn't there. But nonetheless, they huddled up and said, this is the way we're going to call it. And there you have it.
So now Carlson will punt for the 2nd time today. The Aggies late to get a man on the field, and there's confusion with the officials. We've Got a couple of whistles starting up to play here. Graves is back deep for Valpo. High snap to Carlson. Line drive, spiraling kick. Graves around the 30. Breaks a tackle. And then he's knocked down by Giacalone, who's having a great year on special teams. So now this Aggie offense, which got off to such a good start, has sputtered a bit. We'll see if the Aggie defense can make one final stand late in the first half. 47-yard punt for Carlson. Giacalone, one of those guys who's a big part of the future, only a redshirt sophomore, so he still has 2 years left. The Aggies will have 2 big-time linebackers graduate, Brohard and Ojo, so Giacalone will fight for a starting spot next year. Apple hands it off to Dawson, running right. His best run of the day, then it pops loose. Apple able to pounce on it at the 40. A wet football. Dawson lost it. Apple, Johnny on the spot to grab it. It goes as a gain for 9.
Hey, there's a hole in there to run through as well, so they're starting to get some good blocking up front. Let's take a look right there. There it comes right at you. You can see there's a big hole right in there, and it just slips right on out. I don't think anyone even hit him, and the ball just fell out. So they got to clean up what they're doing in there from a defensive line standpoint, and the backers got to fill their spots in there and get those gaps filled.
Apple puts Vickers in motion, fakes the handoff to Dawson. He angles towards the sideline. Dropped by Giacalone, finished off by Jackson. And that will move the chains for Valpo, but the clock is moving after the chains get set. With 1:20 left here in the first half. Valpo still with 3 timeouts to play with. They do not use one here. Apple in the air. Good coverage. Andre Selden able to poke it away. Intended receiver was Solomon Davis.
Great coverage right there, and that's a timing, because if you jump that a little too soon, that's an easy penalty, right, that they can call you on. It's like, now before the ball got there, you're all over him. Let's take a look at his coverage there. He's in great position. Ball is thrown. He breaks up on it, and at the same exact time, he reaches his hand across there and knocks it down. Just great coverage.
Aggies secondary has had a really, really good year. Much improved from a year ago. A lot of credit goes to the coaches back there, Melvin Rice and Cliff Odom. Aggies have one of the best pass defenses. Numbers rise around the country. And there's Giacalone again. Nick Giacalone having a great finish to half one.
So Coach Dryling has seen enough in terms of trying to sit back in his base coverage and not do anything, and this time he brings the house. Let's bring them all in there. You can see them at the top of the screen.
First time out of the half.
Enough blockers.
30-second and late.
The Aggies use a timeout because they could get the ball back here. Giacalone and Edwards getting to the quarterback, Apple. And Giacalone, during the offseason, it's going to be interesting, Danny, because he's going to fight for not just playing time, but potentially a starting spot next year with Brohard graduating and with Ojo graduating in the offseason.
Yeah, you know, and from a coaching standpoint, they also are going to bring in as many people as they can. So when you get to college football, there's never a time it's like, oh, this is my spot. Next year, it's mine to be had. No, I mean, next year, you show up and fight for your spot, because if they don't have the depth, they're going to bring in people that are going to battle you for that position. So it's not just handed to you. And the hard work he's putting in now really will pay off.
Valpo today, 2 for 9 on third down. Apple looking left. Here comes Thomas. He fires it for the running back, Labus. Dropped immediately by Cyrus Dumas. Just shy of the original line of scrimmage.
Timeout. New Mexico State. Their second timeout of the half. 30-second timeout.
Aggies are hungry for more points, Danny. 50 seconds left. The Aggies burn their second timeout, so they will get the football back and potentially add some points to the scoreboard here in the final minute.
Cyrus Dumas, you know, through the year, I know I've said it a lot, that his closing speed and the ability for him to get down on a receiver so quick is incredible. In that case, he sits back there, lots of room, right? So you don't want to get up too close and let him sneak by you, because it was 3rd and long. So he said, fine, catch the ball, I'll give you 2 yards, but after you get those 2 yards, I'm closing and shutting it down, and that's exactly what he did. He's had a great year, you know, and 6 tackles last week. Did a great job.
I like that the Aggies are using timeouts here because of their big playability here in the first half. They've scored quickly. So while 50 seconds doesn't seem like a lot of time, The Aggies have scored multiple times really quick in the first half, and they're going to start at the 26. That's where Dixon handles the Mathis punt. Now it is a different quarterback now with Gavin Frakes. Diego Pavia was injured moments ago, so Frakes coming in for Pavia. We hope Diego's okay. He went to the medical tent. I never saw him go to the locker room, but he may have, just because halftime is approaching.
Right, I didn't see him get out of there and make his way to the locker room as well, but yeah, there was a lot going on. Now it's Gavin's turn. Now let's see, get back there. You got 43 seconds. Let's see if you can make something happen.
Like we said earlier, too, Pavia probably was not going to play in half two anyway. I think we're going to see Gavin Frakes to start the third quarter regardless. Block is picked up by Thomas, and Frakes throws it out of the reach of Tomas Whitford, his tight end.
Yeah, Tomas Whitford was kind of dragging across the middle, and he was open for a while there, but there's just not. As he scrambled, it just kind of closed down, and there was nowhere to go with the ball.
Gavin Frakes started 4 straight games before the Lamar game. That game, of course, was a couple weeks ago, and Gavin went 3-1 during that stretch. He has made 5 starts this year, so he has a ton of playing time in his first year collegiately. Second down and 10 with 35 seconds left. Frakes throws left, covered well, but the catch is made. It was not an easy grab. Cordell David, who had a touchdown earlier, hangs on for 5 yards.
Gavin sure did thread that ball in there. Not much room in there. They're going a little tempo now with 19 seconds.
The Aggies have 1 timeout left. They don't use it. Frakes near side. Bellamy needs to get out of bounds. He does with 9 seconds left. You would love to get an Ethan Albertson field goal range, but you have a ways to go for that.
You do. You got to get a little deeper throw in there. And the defense that they're playing is kind of a prevent, and they're sitting way back, giving him those shorter throws.
Third catch of the first half for Chris Bellamy, the transfer from Coffeyville JUCO. That last catch went for 10. 9 seconds left for Gavin Frakes. The Aggies have scored from this area on 1 play in half one. We'll see if they can do it again, potentially. Frakes over the middle, caught by Tomas Whitford. Whitford needs to go down here. Final seconds of the first half. And the play is blown dead with 2 seconds left. Aggies use their final timeout. Gain of 13 on the catch and run for the big tight end Whitford. Well, now you go for a Hail Mary, right? You have 2 seconds left.
2 seconds.
You throw it towards the end zone. You see what happens.
Right. See Tomas right there. He had a great game last week, and I think his play has gotten better as the year has gone on. He's a big guy at 6'4", 250. You know, he's made some catches where he is just run over people, and you get a tight end with a little steam coming at you with that size, it makes it very hard to bring him down.
Coming up at halftime, Tatiana will visit with Athletics Director Mario Mocha. We will also have a sit-down interview that was recorded about a month ago with senior Chris Ocho, who is playing his final game at Aggie Memorial today. Chance for one final play. Ball is at the 46 for Gavin Frakes, who has a really good arm.
Timeout, Valpo. Their first timeout of the half, 30-second timeout.
One of those use it or lose it timeouts. Valpo is going to make sure that they are in a good spot here in the final 2 seconds. Bosque Brewing Company, a proud supporter of the Aggies, with 2 locations in Las Cruces and additional locations in Albuquerque and Santa Fe. Bosque Brewing is the home of Pistol Pete's 1888 Ale and 1888's Cranberry Seltzer. Drink one to the Aggies. What's your mindset here, Danny, as a former defensive back if you're the Valpo secondary?
Yeah, you're thinking it's going to be a deep pass, and so you certainly, if you're a safety, you're not going to let anyone is deeper than you are, so you're going to play very far back. They're at the 20-yard line, and let them catch the ball up front, and then you can get them. But the last thing you want is to make any play, and even the coaches are saying, get further back. You don't want to make a play. There's no use. There's 2 seconds to make a play in midfield, so you just let it go. So offensively,
46.
You take the midfield.
Gavin Frakes steps up. He is hit as he throws, and it wobbles at the 35-yard line. So the Aggies do not get a play off.
That's the end of the second quarter.
Frakes was looking for the end zone and just could not get an accurate throw away as the pass was deflected. Halftime comes your way next. A big first half of the Aggie offense. 21 points in the first, 14 in the second. 35-3 through 2.
If Mark, Mr. Cartoon Machado,
Beautiful look of the Mesilla Valley. We're back with you from Aggie Memorial Stadium. Adam Young, Danny Nee, Tatiana Favela here on Senior Day. The Aggies are trying to go to 6-6 and also win their 5th game in their previous 6. It was a slow start to the year, 0-4, then 1-5. But since the previous month and a half or so, Jerry Kill's football has played very good football, and the Aggies are leading 35-3. Halftime stats are presented by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of New Mexico. Danny, those offensive numbers, those are nice to see, aren't they?
Those are huge numbers. Those are like end of the game numbers that we look at, right? So total yards, 405 yards already. It's just incredible. He's come out, he's thrown the ball, he's run the ball. Hopefully he's okay. Penalties, a few penalties we've got to clean up. But, Valpo, they've come back and they've figured out, we put a little pressure on them, and it makes it a little harder. So in the second quarter, it was a little tougher. But overall, the stats are showing you have this game, and you're proving that you've done good, and it wasn't a fluke.
Time of possession is well in favor of Valpo, but that's because the Aggies are scoring early and often, especially in that first quarter.
You see that happen when you have like 3 plays, you score in 3 plays. This is usually what the indicator is when you look at the time of possession. And we did that on a number of plays coming in the first quarter. We just came out, boom, 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 score, turn the ball, get back to defense.
And if we know Jerry Kill, I'm sure he addressed the penalties in the locker room at halftime. I'm sure that was the one issue he had in that first half. The Responsible Gaming Association of New Mexico, the state's Native American-owned casinos, working together to offer free and confidential resources for the prevention, education, and treatment of problem gambling. Learn more at rganm.org. Aggies in line to play in a bowl game for just the second time in 61 years. They're supposed to find out tomorrow morning where they will go. But first, they're trying to finish off the regular season on a high note. Danny, this was a game that was not officially added until Tuesday. So both programs the previous week were trying to figure out whether or not they were going to play. Valpo, of course, had to travel here. Valpo had their players home for Thanksgiving. They got back to practice this week while the Aggies were able to practice the entire time. Then they found out they were going to play on Tuesday. As you see Diego Pavia walking back in street clothes from the locker room. He is limping. We don't know exactly what happened, Danny, but the fact that he's not on crutches and able to walk on his own, that's probably a good sign.
Coach Beck talked about the toughness of this guy. He says you don't become an all-state wrestler just by chance. You put in hard work, and you have to be a hard-nosed player, and he is that. So, yes, we saw a little smile there, a little banged up, but I don't know that he was going to play anyway in the second half. So, just as well, take your pads off.
Yeah, we talked about that during the first half. In all likelihood, he was probably only going to have 2 quarters of football today and then get ready for the bowl game. And unfortunately, he gets injured in the final couple minutes of the first half. So Gavin Frakes played the remainder of the first half. We'll probably see Weston Eget at some point in half 2. I'm sure it's going to be Frakes to start half 2 and then Eget maybe for the entire fourth quarter. But of course, this game is not done yet, and a lot depends on how the Aggies get off to a start here in the third quarter. The Aggies will receive to start the third quarter as it cools down a bit. Wind is picking up. Still a light drizzle. It's been off and on the last couple of hours here in the Southwest.
Late in that second quarter, Valpo figured out, look, if you sit back and give Diego or any Aggie quarterback time, he's going to find ways to burn you, and they've brought the pressure. So let's see if they're going to keep the pressure dialed up this third quarter.
Well, Booch kit. Dixon and Brady back deep, and this is going to be the tight end Tomas Whitford on the return. Showing off his legs, Whitford slides down at the 30.
It was just like NFL games where the big tight ends get the ball and they just want to truck over someone. I was thinking he's going to turn the corner and just roll someone, but I guess the defender in this case said, "Now, before you do that, I'm just going to cut your legs out so you don't truck me on TV."
Your eyes get pretty big when you're a tight end and you get to return a kickoff. So Tomas Whitford was looking for a big return. He returns it out to the 28-yard line. Gavin Frakes is the quarterback after finishing the first half at quarterback. It is a wet turf right now. This is Star Thomas dancing around. Past the 30 up to the 30.5-yard line. He gets 2 yards.
You know, I'd like to see us come back to this a little bit more. The first half, of course, we came out, threw the ball. They were in the box. A lot of guys there. Ended up in one-on-one coverage. And so, yeah, we're going to take shots downfield. This time around, I'd like to see us work the offensive run game just a bit.
Of course, Jerry Kill always likes to use clock on offense. They will likely do the same here in half two, leading big against Valpo. Right back to the ground again. Nowhere to go for Star Thomas. No gain. Third down coming up.
Well, that's great defense right there by Valpo. There's nothing there. Every gap was accounted for, and not one area that Star could poke his nose in and get any additional yardage. Puts you in 3rd and long in the first possession of half.
Thomas has had a good first year with the Aggies, averaging almost 5 yards per carry for the season. Leads the Aggies in rushing yards. Out of Homer, Louisiana. And Thomas makes the catch on a 3rd down and 10. And the Aggies will have to punt on their first possession. So after a really good quarter and a half of football, Danny, the last half of the second quarter and the first start here in the third quarter, it's been a little rougher offensively.
Yeah, I just think they haven't really owned the offensive line of scrimmage. And when that happens, you have to start doing other things to try to account for it. And he puts you in 3rd and long position, and they're just bringing people up on the line of scrimmage and just lots of pressure.
Carlson gets the punt away. Graves is back deep. And Graves calls for a fair catch right around the 20. We saw some pretty good things from the Valpo offense in that first half. Apple was pretty good. The running game with Dawson never really got underway, but Apple had some really, really good throws in that first half that showed some things for the Valpo offense.
They're not going away for sure. They've sat out there and they've had some great jives, put 3 on the board. They've been deep in the Aggie territory, so they think they can still move the ball, and so now it's going to be the Aggies to shut them down.
Apple in that first half, 11 for 21 for 96 yards. Hands it off here to Dawson. It's pretty much been just Dawson running the football for Valpo, which has been the case all year for them. And he picks up 2 yards.
I think defensively, Coach comes out and says, look, let's just get back our first starters. We're going to start this third quarter. So you see all of our first starters in there. You see Trevor and Chris and others. So they're going to try to set the tempo defensively before they start rotating out.
Dawson in the Wildcat. Aggie's able to read it well again. Screaming up from his linebacker position is Chris Ojo. He's played a good game again today, Danny.
Yeah, coming downfield there, not blocked. He just steps right between 2 people. He saw the play the whole time. So it's a little draw. He's going to hand the ball off, and as soon as he saw the ball handed off, it's like, I know what to do from here. I'm just going to barrel through this B gap and just make a sack.
Valpo's try to run Dawson in the Wildcat a lot today, but it hasn't worked. Dawson entered action today 171 yards away from tying the school record for rushing yards in a single season. 3rd down and long for Valpo. Apple looks right, throws right, catch is made by Dawson, and he's upended by Dumas from his cornerback position.
Read it the whole time. He's out there in coverage, and he's looking at the quarterback. The quarterback is looking at a receiver that's short of Cyrus, that's out on coverage, and says, I'm just going to sit back here, let you dump the ball to him, and when you do, I'm going to come screaming in like I normally do, take the legs out and make the tackle.
And now Mathis will have to punt right in front of his own end zone. So dangerous situation here for Valpo. Dixon is back near midfield. Juggling the initial snap is Mathis, and then it's caught as it ricocheted off a defender. And the Aggies come up with the football near the 1-yard line. It was a juggle on the snap for Mathis. It was a bad situation from the start for Valpo.
Yeah, not much happening there on that punt, so it just kind of it looks like he just this up blocker just backed into him.
And that was a nightmare from the start there, Danny, as you see Mathis right here just never really had a hand on it. I think it went off one of his teammates.
I think it did. I think it was the up back that was there, and I don't think the up back came back. I think it was the snap. Like you said, he just couldn't field the snap, and he had to come in and make a play, which made he stepped up a little bit and just had it short.
It was Malachi McLean who come up with it. Gavin Franks at quarterback. Hands it off to Jamani Jones, and Jones is in. 2 yards away. Jamani Jones, the rushing touchdown. His 6th of the season, his 7th overall touchdown this year. And the Aggies take advantage of the fantastic field position.
Well, offensively, I don't know that they had a lot going on, but defensively, they make a stop, put him on the 2-yard line and say, guys, can you finish it from here? Jones said, yes, I can. Give me the ball right over my big line, and here we go.
Point after from Ethan Albertson. It is good. Well, we think it hit off a player for the Beacons on the punt, but it still goes down as a block punt. The first for the Aggies since 2018. Jones, the rushing touchdown. Aggies ahead 42-3 early on in quarter 3. Today's presentation of Aggie football is brought to you by Electronic Caregiver, Memorial Medical Center, White Claw, the official hard seltzer of the Aggies, New Senda Credit Union, Lorenzo's Italian Restaurant, White Sands Federal Credit Union, and by Twisted Tea, the official hard tea of the Aggies. 42-3 Aggies after the rushing touchdown for Jamani Jones. The first rushing touchdown for an Aggie running back today. On a high-scoring game for the Aggies, they lead big early on in the third quarter. KT Homes is focused on building energy-efficient homes. Come see our model home or visit us online at kthomes.com to learn why Aggie fans have bought our homes for over 30 years. It was a botched punt by Mathis that set up the field position for the Aggies, resulting in the touchdown run for Jamani Jones. It was hard to tell, but it seemed like there was not an Aggie who got a hand on it. It was just kicked off a Beacon.
Yeah, I think you made the call right, Adam. I think it was a snap that was just bobbled, and he had to scoot up, and when he scooted up, he ended up kicking it in the back of his up back.
That will sneak inside the pylon, so first down and 10 at the 25 for Valpo. But it does go down as a block punt. The first for the Aggies since September 22, 2018. All right, here's a look at it. Did anybody get a hand on it? Nope, that was the back of a Beacon.
Yep.
That was Tyler Eberhardt, the offensive lineman.
He got the ball into his waist, and when it went into his waist, he couldn't pull it out of there, and so it almost looked like he took an extra step in there.
You already know it's dangerous when you're around the 1-yard line near the end zone, and Mathis juggled the snap, and it was a nightmare after that. Barrett Labus is pounded by Malachi McLean on the run. A gain of only 2 yards. It's a little cold down there now. The rain continues to fall. It's probably dropped in temperature by about 10 degrees during the course of the game. It was actually really good weather this morning. And then it went south about an hour before a kick, and it's been a light drizzle for the majority of the game today. Labus, a sophomore from Wandsworth, Ohio. Motions to the left to the quarterback, Michael Apple. Apple pulls it, and he's hit as he throws. Just gets it past the line of scrimmage.
Really on the
Aggies have
field,
shown
take a free
really
pass.
good pressure
Third down.
defensively at the quarterback for the second straight game.
I think he's looking at going back to that play action where we're going to have a little skinny post come in there. Devlin Kirkland back in there. You can see him in the middle of the screen. I think he's reading that all the while thinking, I'm going to get between the quarterback and the receiver in his line, and when I do, I'll be perfect in there to grab a potential pick. So I'm not sure that play was going to go anywhere, but you can't get it. The big defensive lineman knocks it down. Just doesn't matter.
That was Gabe Peterson who hurried the quarterback. He had a sack late in the first half. Peterson's played well. The tight end Jernigan in motion to the right. Apple will hand it off for Labus, and he's tripped up immediately. So an unconventional run on 3rd and 8 for Valpo. Chris Ojo having fun out there. Danny, you talk a lot about the transfer portal, and sometimes it goes well, sometimes it doesn't go well. Well, Chris Ojo wanted the chance to play at the FBS level. He transferred last year from FCS Eastern Washington. And since coming here, it's been a grand success for Ojo and the Aggies.
Nothing but high performance since he stepped in here in Aggieville.
Jonathan Brady on the return, had to dive to grab it. Mathis was punting into the wind.
Timeout on the field.
35-yard punts. Aggie offense back to work after this.
.edu/go.
A chilly, rainy day here at Aggie Memorial. All Aggies here in the regular season finale, 42-3. The support has been great all year. For more on that, we send it down to Tatiana.
Game of the season here at Aggie Memorial Stadium, and what a season it has been, especially for the crowds. For the season opener, we had a crowd of nearly 24,000 for the game against Nevada, and the fans have continued to pile in Aggie Memorial Stadium ever since. Now, season ticket sales were at an all-time high in the preseason for year one in a Jerry Kill era, and throughout the season, attendance has been up 41% from last year to this year, which ranks top 10 nationally for attendance growth for the previous year. Meanwhile, today's game is the 6th home game of the season, marking the first time since 2013 with 6 home games. So we gotta love that fan support, especially here at home. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Tatiana. Ticket sales for this game did not go on sale until late on Tuesday because that's when the game was added. Breaking free is Star Thomas into Valpo territory and then some inside the 40. A gain of 23 for the Homer, Louisiana native.
And we're going to go with a little tempo in there, but great blocking up front. Look at the hole that was created up there. Had a chip block, went to another side, and created a big opening.
And now Thomas, after nothing was going on, able to sneak ahead near the 35. He gets down to the 35-yard line for a 2-yard gain. And a player is down for Valpo.
You know, on that previous play, Adam, I'm always surprised of how fast Star looks. You know, he's a big guy, and you're thinking, oh, he's just a bruiser. He's just a between-the-tackles guy. But at many occasions this year, we've seen him break out and really show some speed.
And he is so hard to take down, too. I mean, he's listed 225, but I think he's more like 230, 235. But, yeah, we've been really impressed by his speed this year. Him and Jamani Jones together have had a good year. That is Logan Chastain, the freshman from Oregon, who's walking off on his own. First ever meeting between the Aggies and the Beacons. Mid-50s, raining. Game was added 4 days ago. From the 36, second down for Gavin Frakes. He puts J.J. Jones in motion. And Frakes will give it to Star Thomas. Maneuvers his way up to the 30-yard line. Picks up 6, third down and short.
I like to see this because I like to see that they've made some adjustments to all of the pressure that they are receiving. So they've come out in the late second and third quarter and said, let's just put lots of pressure on the quarterback. Well, in that case, let's just going to line him up on the line of scrimmage and create a hole and try to get it back through there.
Gavin Frakes, 4 for 8 for 34 yards. Came in late in half one when Diego Pavia was injured. Pavia back on the field, but in street clothes on the sideline. Thomas fighting for yardage. and he gets the first down. Just past the 3 yards he needed. A 4-yard pickup for Thomas, and that will move the chains.
If he gets that stiff arm and he can just push that guy to the ground just a little bit more, I think he can take that one all the way to the house. That's All-Star Thomas right there, just low to the ground and grinding it out, knowing where that first down marker is.
I think he knew that too, Danny. Judging by his reaction, you could tell he was frustrated after he picked up the first down. So a good day for Thomas. 8 carries, 54 yards. They fake it to Thomas, and Terrell Warner was open, but he could not make the catch.
Oh, that's
AJ Vaipulu, by the way, is the center right now, so Kenan Yarrow getting a rest.
Making some adjustments up there at center, too. He's pointing around saying, okay, you get him, you come over here. They brought pressure off the top, so they had to make adjustments to the left. But there's Coach Sanchez saying right there, look, you catch that, you're off to the races, Terrell. That's 6. It is. That was a good play call.
The Aggies had good timing on those plays in the first half. Timing was a bit off there for Terrell Warner. 2nd down and 10 for Gavin Frakes. Looking right, he throws right, has a man. It's hauled in by Jordan Parker. His first catch in 8 games. And it's 1st and goal for the Aggies.
Good to see Jordan Parker get on the marker here, get some yardage, some catches right there. We saw a spring game where he was really putting it on, and so we're hoping for a lot.
Roughing the passer, number 90, defense. Half the distance was marked from the end of the play, automatic first down.
That's a penalty on rushing end Sam Hafner. So instead of the ball at the 2, the ball's at the 1-yard line for the Aggies, or at least it should be, after the 24-yard catch for Jordan Parker.
You can see it right here. You can see Gavin's arm, his confidence to throw it across the middle. Just nice timing route in there. Great catch, great throw.
From the 1-yard line, pistol back is Star Thomas. Jordan Parker in motion. They hand it to Thomas, and he bulldozes his way into the end zone. A touchdown for the Homer, Louisiana native. First touchdown today for Star Thomas, his 5th rushing touchdown this year, his 7th touchdown overall.
This is just straight up smash mouth football. Line him up in there, give it to the big guy right over your best blocker, and let's just push it in there, and that's exactly what happened.
And it was set up by the 24-yard catch for Jordan Parker. Well, it was the passing at half 1. It's the running game at half 2. All Aggies here today at Aggie Memorial. Memorial Medical Center is the official healthcare partner for the Aggies. Experience the Memorial difference at memorialdifference.com. High school students, New Mexico State University has a variety of financial aid options to help pay for school. Do not delay. Now's your chance to pursue your higher education dream. Go to apply.nmsu.edu. 49-3 the score. Those two guys right there. Chimani Jones, number 3 in black on the right. Star Thomas, number 4 to his left. Rushing touchdowns for both in this half. So it was the Diego Pavia air show in half 1. Now it's the running game in half 2. 49 points for the Aggies. That gives them 49 plus in 3 of their previous 4 games. Also, the Aggies have now scored 45 plus for the 4th time this year. For the first time since 1966. How about that? Pacific, Wichita State, Eastern New Mexico, and UNM. The 4 opponents in 1966 when the Aggies scored 45 plus. That's a pretty good note for an offense that sputtered early but has really picked it up late.
You know what's so impressive? The stat is really impressive, but it's also real impressive that you're able to get those out so fast. You find the answer to those and produce it. And so, yeah, did a little quick work there and come up with it. And it's an impressive stat.
A lot of credit goes to Tim Beck, who you talked to earlier this week, Danny, and This offense just continues to get better and better under Tim Beck's guidance.
And I told Coach Beck, here's the problem. The problem he created is that all of us players and students and supporters are going to expect that every year.
Yeah, now the expectations are really, really high for Jerry Kill, Tim Beck, and the coaching staff. But that's the way they want it. Jerry Kill, of course, the fix-it guy around college football. That's what they call him. Pass is dropped, intended for Jordan Bingham. Michael Apple still the quarterback for Valpo.
Bruno Phil's incomplete pass.
Jerry Kill said a lot early on that it's going to take time. Just stay patient with us. And it took time early on this year, but now you're going to a bowl game. You're winning 5 of your final 6 regular season games if you hang on here. So the building process, the rebuilding effort is accelerated a little bit because of that. Apple hands it off. Labus crushed immediately by Malachi McLean, who's a freshman.
McLean getting some playing time as well. Again, we talked early on about the coaches saying, well, we're going to go to a lot of players in the secondary, in the safety area. With Coach Rice was saying, yeah, for sure, I'm going to play as many guys as possible and get a lot of experience. I like that because what happens is everyone gets a taste of what it's like to get on the field. And when you get on the field, sometimes you're going to say, you know what, I'm going to do whatever it takes to stay on the field, and you work harder. So it's kind of a self-perpetuating, just get yourself better to be in a position to stay on the field.
Line to gain is the 35. Apple back to throw on 3rd and 6, backing up, tosses it incomplete. Ryan Meehan, the fullback, the intended receiver. A flag comes in far sideline.
There's no foul for ineligible downfield. The ball was touched at or behind the line of scrimmage. 3rd down.
You know, Adam, the other thing that happens when you start playing at higher levels, and Coach Beck and I talked about this, is that the players then expect that, you know what, I can do better. And the bar gets raised by the players, not even the coaches sometimes. It's the players that say we expect ourselves to be better, to win more games, to perform at a higher level. And it's kind of just rolling, and all of a sudden it's expected, and you come onto the field and say, yeah, what, we're going to win because we're going to play harder.
Another punt is off the back of a Beacon, and this one will roll out of bounds around the 30. And just like the punt earlier from Mathis, I don't think an Aggie touched it. I think Mathis kicked it off one of his teammates' backs again. It happened earlier, and I think that was the same case right there for the punt by Mathis.
I don't even know if it was a kind of a fumbled catch. No, not at all. Well, hard to tell from that angle, but he's certainly taken a lot of steps towards his up back, blocking back there.
He was off Eberhardt earlier. It might have been off Eberhardt again on this punt. So the Aggies will start at the 32. Trying to extend their 49-3 advantage. Give is to Jamani Jones. Good jump cut by Jones. Aggie running game has been a whole lot better here in half 2. Gain of 9 for the Tulsa native. Jones coming off his best game as an Aggie. Had a 49-yard touchdown run against Liberty. 74 total on the ground a week ago. He was FBS ready when he came here from Northeastern Oklahoma A&M. And Gavin Frakes will pull it and keep it. Nowhere to go for Frakes.
Yeah, that was well read by the defense. That's a read option in there, and so it looked like everyone was going to stay out with the running back, so he's going to keep it, try to sneak in behind, but there was nothing there. There was absolutely a good read by the defense who sat in every gap. Nowhere to go.
Gavin loses 2 yards on the play. 3rd and 3. The Aggies 4 for 7 on 3rd down. Valpo 2 for 13 on 3rd down. Line to get to is the 22. This time, Frakes will hand it off, and the Aggies will be short. No gain. Jamani Jones on the rush. So let's see Ethan Albertson for the first time in a couple of weeks. It's been a quiet couple of weeks for him. No field goal attempts in the last 2 games for Albertson, who was really good in the couple of weeks before that. 42-yard field goal for Albertson. 5 for 8 on the year, 4 for 4 combined in the previous 4 games. Good hold by Carlson, and it's right down the middle. Albertson finishing off his year strong. It's things like that, too, Danny, that could go a long way in the bowl game. If Ethan Albertson does not attempt a field goal today, that is 3 straight games where he does not attempt one.
Yep.
And you want him confident and comfortable going into the bowl game.
And we had a little time in the middle of the season where we weren't as confident in our field goals as we are today. You know, all of these things kind of come together. So at different times, different things were happening during the middle of the season, and we just couldn't catch a break. But all of a sudden, everything lines up, and it all starting to work, and it just makes a big difference. You're absolutely right.
It's that exciting time of the year with lots of big games to enjoy. It's also the time of the year when drunk driving crashes and fatalities increase. You can end DWI by designating a driver or arrange a safe ride home for someone who needs it. Stay in the game and designate a driver. Together, we can end DWI. 4 plays, 7 yards, resulting in the 42-yard field goal for Ethan Albertson. A return here for Vircher. Noah Arinze makes the tackle on special teams. Out of St. Louis, Missouri, Webster Groves High School. 3:35 left here in quarter 3, 52-3. Danny, we talked from the outset during the open about no letdowns today. Handle business, and the Aggies have done so.
They certainly have. How fun would it be to be able to take that, the team that performed so well at Liberty and go back and redo Nevada and redo FIU in the games that we just didn't have everything clicking all together. I think it just makes a world of difference, and it could really change the tide. So next season I can see them improving, and those close games are going to be better this next year.
Well, we talked earlier about leadership, and Diego Pavia in the podcast that we had him on this week, he talked about the leadership this year from Cyrus Dumas, and he said after game 4, Dumas said, yeah, we could have beat Nevada. Yeah, we could have beat UTEP, but those games are over. We need to find a way to get back on track and not think about the first 4 games of the season. Look ahead, play good football the rest of the way, and make sure that those don't come back to hurt us down the road. Cyrus Dumas has been one of those leaders that a lot of his teammates have talked a lot about. Catches made, tackle broken. Malachi McLean got there. Contreras on the reception for Valpo.
Boy, Malachi is really flying around here. He's taking the most of his time on the field, like Coach talked about. Make sure you do. There he is right there, comes screaming in there. I love it when a safety comes screaming down to make a play like that. It just makes a difference. Closing factor, fantastic.
3rd down, 8 yards to go for the Beacons out of the Pioneer Football League at the FCS level. This is only the 4th ever FBS opponent for a Pioneer Football League team. 2 for 13 on 3rd down. Labus in motion. Apple, good pass, good catch, juggling effort. Solomon Davis the reception. A 1st down for the Beacons.
Yeah, that's the one play that they're coming back to, that they've had some success from the first half. They're going to do a little play action and then bring that little skinny post in there and right across the middle there and just right between 2 guys and just pops to them really fast.
A lot of 2nd and 3rd teamers on defense right now individually for the Aggies. I doubt we'll see many, if any, of the starters the rest of the way. Labus, the ball carrier. Sophomore from Wadsworth, Ohio, runs it for 4 yards near side. Aggie defense trying to finish off the regular season strong in their previous 4 games against non-Power 5 opponents. Nate Dreiling's defense is only giving up 12.5 points per game. They're trying to lower that right now, only allowing 3 points on a 49-yard Bartholomew field goal for Valpo. Redwell, Giacalone, and Blowers. James Blowers, the local product from Las Cruces, number 46 there in black.
You know, I talked about Coach Beck and trying to figure out, well, where are you coming from? What are you doing? Different plays you're doing. And the same is true defensively. I think defensively you have more changes that he makes and little disguises that he performs. In that case, we had linebackers coming through the AB gap, and everyone is kind of lots of folks on the top of the screen who were up on the line of scrimmage. So it just, the changes like that make it tough to block.
Aggies appreciate that effort from Blowers. Pass was almost batted down. Ankle tackle made. B.J. Schulark wrapping up Solomon Davis here in the final seconds of the third quarter.
Defensively, you really like when there's lots of Aggies to the ball, and you can see that. You can see lots of red hats to the ball, everyone running to the ball to make something happen.
A lot of talk about the Aggie offense today. The defense has been just as good. Valpo's barely over 100 yards of offense. 52-3. We head to the fourth in the regular season finale. All Aggies 52-3 here in the regular season finale. Adam Young, Danny Nee, Tatiana Favela with you. The Aggies have won 4 of their previous 5 games. The tide really turned about a month and a half ago when the Aggies started to really play good football. This is their previous 5 games, Danny. Beat New Mexico, road win at UMass, the first road win since 2018. Crushed Lamar, had some good moments against Mizzou, and then the massive upset against Liberty when they were 24-point underdogs. So the previous 5 games, they've been playing good football.
Yeah, that's tough. You take Missouri out of there, and that was a good game. That was a tough Missouri team. They're playing fantastic football. It's just a difference between the beginning and the second half of the season.
Aggies at one point 0-4. Then they were 1-5. Jerry Kill and the program, they just kept on chopping wood. Just kept on grinding every single day in practice. Better punt here for Mathis, who's punted twice off one of his teammates. Dixon will return. And Dixon is dropped. Sherman in on the special team stop. 49-yard punt, 3-yard return. Westar is a proud supporter of the Aggies. Find them online at westarbank.com. I would say we're going to see some more reserves, but there's not a whole lot more you can bring in. The Aggies have been playing a lot of reserves recently. We will see a different quarterback, though. And as expected, we predicted this, didn't we? Gavin Frakes would play the third quarter, and now Weston Egan will likely get the entire fourth quarter. So Weston Egan now the Aggie quarterback. Stretch handoff to Amante Watkins, showing off his speed. Look at that young man go. 20-yard line, 10-yard line. Amante Watkins, the speedster from Houston, flies in for the touchdown.
All year, we've been waiting to say, show us the wheels. We know you got them. And it's just like so close every play. It's like, oh, almost there, almost there. In this case, it's there. He turns the corner. No one between him and the goal line but Green. And look at those wheels. Don't look back. Take it to the house.
We've talked so much about his speed, breakaway speed, if you will. He was a high school 4-star out of Klein Forest High School, Houston native. His third rushing touchdown. This one 78 yards away.
Details.
Second half rushing touchdowns for Jamani Jones, Star Thomas, and now Amante Watkins. 59-3 Aggies here in the home finale again. Bowl eligible Aggies getting ready for a bowl game this year. Opponent, dates, location, of course, to be determined But 2017 was fun, wasn't it, Danny? In Arizona and Tucson at the Home Loans Arizona Bowl.
Oh, that was so much fun. There was great support from the Aggies that went out there and saw some incredible football.
Jason Huntley with a kick return touchdown. This fumble recovery for Terrell Hanks, who eventually played in the NFL for the Miami Dolphins. Larry Rose III had the finisher, and the Aggies able to beat Utah State 26-20 in one of the best days in program history. Certainly the best day in a long, long time, and they stormed the field on the campus of the University of Arizona. The Aggies are still undefeated in bowl games, by the way. They're 3-0-1. They played in the Sun Bowl in 1936, 1959, and 1960. 2 wins and a tie. And then the win in 2017. So they're going to try to stay undefeated in a bowl game coming up here soon.
And we're going to need that guy right there, Trevor Bohard, to get in there and secure another win for us.
Aggies will find out tomorrow where they will go. That kick goes out of bounds, and Valpo will have it at the 35-yard line.
Kicking team. The ball placed at the 35-yard line. First down.
Bet you if we saw Jerry Kill right now, he'd be furious after that kick out of bounds. He's going to continue to coach. He wants his players to continue to play despite the score. We knew this was a game, Danny, where the differential is big. It's FBS versus FCS, and Valpo's a non-athletic scholarship FCS. We've seen some good moments for Valpo, but give a lot of credit to the Aggies. They did not overlook the opponent. They handled business here today, and they were hungry to play this 12th football game this year.
Yeah, it's been all about Aggies this whole game, and I think I thought maybe they would lose sight after all the rigmarole that was going on, and they didn't.
It should be a delay of game on Valpo.
Delay game, offense. 5-yard penalty, remain first down.
You know, it would have been so easy to get caught up in all the excitement, right? To say, oh, we had a big win. What about us? Diego gets lots of awards. We're doing great. We get a couple waivers. Life is good. Let's just, not worry about it and not take care of business today. But they didn't. They came and they did take care of business. Have what do we got? 8 or 9 different people on the board scoring. So offensively, defensively, great game.
And you also got the waiver, too, to be bowl eligible earlier this week. So technically, if you win or lose, you're still bowl eligible. Ryan Mann with the reception here for Valpo. So this is totally different than 2017, right? When you played South Alabama in the finale, where it was lose, you go home, win, you go to a bowl game. It was not that case this year.
Yeah, and that was a good game as well. I do remember that game where we had Connor Kramer come in there, and he's a little gamer. He was in there helping us secure the win to get us to this bowl game. And just like Diego was a little gamer out there in Liberty, putting a big show together for us to help secure us on maybe a great path to a bowl game, probably.
There were a lot of distractions this week with 2 waivers out until Tuesday. Didn't know if you were going to play this game. Did not know if you were going to have bowl eligibility. Mann once again for Valpo. So despite that, Jerry Kill, who's been doing this for a while, right? 20-plus years as a collegiate head coach. He is 61 years old. He kept his players focused the entire week, going back to that Liberty game a week ago.
When I talked to Coach Beck, he did say that Coach Kill said, look, first thing first, we're going to take care of business, but when you get to the bowl game, it's no fun going to a bowl game and not winning. So you better make sure you get ready for that. I agree. If you get to the big bowl game, you might as well win.
And let's not forget, too, if the Aggies do not beat Liberty a week ago, they're not in a bowl game. The Aggies were trying to get a timeout there, and they do get it. Melvin Rice, the co-defensive coordinator, did not like the way the Aggies were lined up.
Timeout, New Mexico State. Their first timeout of the half, 30-second timeout.
So, Danny, there's a lot of speculation out there. Where will the Aggies go? Is it going to be Mobile, Detroit, Frisco, Dallas? Pretty much every single national writer has a different location, but I think the feeling among the Aggie fans, especially the diehards who want to go, yourself included, right, as a former player.
Yep, whole family.
Wherever they go, we're going, right?
Yeah, it's where we're going to go. Our bags are packed. Just tell us which direction we need to go. And of course, some places are easy to get to. You get a little, I don't know, self-serving that says, well, make it convenient for us. But if you get to areas where it's easier to get to, I think you're going to get more Aggie support, and that's what made the Arizona Bowl so much fun, Adam, right? There were so many Aggies there. Yep. Every time you turned around, there was some more Aggies, and that's what makes bowl fun.
Line again, the 45 for Apple in this Valpo offense. He motions Labus back in the backfield. Apple will fire. Labus, a one-handed catch right at the marker. Let's see where they mark it. It is right at the sticks. There is a flag down at the line of scrimmage.
It was Nick Jackalone on coverage right there, and he's shaking his helmet a little bit.
Number 68, offense. 10 yards from the previous spot, replay, third down.
And I think he's shaking his helmet because he was right on coverage, and he was still able to pull that thing down, and thought he should have put his hand in there. Anything in there knocked that thing down. So there he is right there on coverage. His arm is across there, and he's still able to secure that. That's a great catch.
The holding call was on Aaron Bird, a team captain for Valpo, first team all-conference in the Pioneer Football League out of Bradley, Illinois, just outside of Peoria. Malachi McLean right there on the Aggie defense. Third down and 16 for Valpo. Final 12-plus here in the fourth quarter in the home finale on Senior Day. Heavy rush from Gibson, low throw by Apple. The pocket collapsed, and Valpo is going to have to punt.
It was an incomplete pass. Fourth down.
Buda Paletti was in that one. He's a true freshman. Boy, is the future bright, especially on defense.
I was thinking the same thing. And you look at that defensive line, everyone was coming. There are 4 yards into the offensive backfield, and there was nowhere to go. There was nothing to do. Secondary covered all the way. Yeah, it's going to be fun. I think these next few years are going to be a good time, Adam.
Buda's out of Oak Hills High School, a very good football school in California. Part of this first recruiting class for Jerry Kill and his staff. They trusted Jerry and his staff back in December and in January when they were on the recruiting trail, really with nothing to go off of except really good resumes with their background. Dixon finds a hole. Lawrence Dixon into Valpo territory. Good return for Dixon, one of his better returns all year.
Timeout on the field.
You know, Adam, it's not... I mean, there's a lot of former players and everyone else, and I think we'll talk more about it, but I had a former coach also reach out and say, hey, I want to show my support for this group. Great coaching right there.
When we work together, we have the power.
59-3, Aggies in front early on here in the fourth quarter. Adam Young, Danny Meade, Tatiana Favela with you. The bowl-bound Aggies finishing off their regular season. Valpo finishing off their regular season as well. Weston Egan was the Aggie quarterback on the previous drive, and he is back out there. Playing in his 4th game this year. He's only attempted 3 passes for the year, 2 for 3. Danny, going back to 2020 during that COVID year, we've seen Weston Egan show a lot of promise, and we'll see if he can play well here in the fourth.
You know, we've talked about Gavin's arm and how great we think his strength of his arm and his ability to get the ball downfield. Well, we saw Weston do that same exact thing, even run the ball. So very capable quarterback as well.
Pistol back is the senior, transfer from Michigan, Omari Samuels. They stretch it out to him. Samuel stays on his feet, high steps down the far sideline. Omari Samuels is tripped up inside the 10. First down and goal.
Omari Samuels wanted to get in on the action there. He takes the handoff. He breaks some tackles. He's a strong running back from Los Lunas. Sees a hole. He cuts it back a little bit, stays on his feet, thinks, oh, I'm going to get this one in. Not quite.
36-yard explosion for Omari Samuels, who continues to grind every single day in practice. He was a starter a year ago. The give is to Samuels again, trying to jump over a defender. No gain on the run for Samuels. The former top recruit in New Mexico, went to Michigan out of high school, played for Jim Harbaugh there. Was the starter on opening day a year ago for the Aggies. Played a ton a year ago. Hasn't played nearly as much this year. But like I said, he continues to grind every single day to prepare when he does get in. Like this moment right here. Sol Rascon, the senior from Farmington, New Mexico, the receiver on the bottom side of your screen. Watch out for him. Hand off to Samuels. Nowhere to go again. No gain again for Samuels.
Yeah, I like that he's getting a lot of guys in there. A lot of people had put in their time. You know, it's more than just the Saturday games. It's during the week, getting to practice, being on the squad that everyone's got to get ready. You got to be on the scout team. It's just it takes a bunch of people, and I think you said that before, in order to field a team that's ready prepared.
Aggies just had Kareem Burgess in the game. Seldom used tight end, a senior. A lot of seniors on the field right now. Samuels, Rascon, Dixon. Terrell Warner is also a senior out there. Weston Egan back to throw. Fires for the end zone, and it's hauled in. Touchdown catch for Jonathan Brady. His second touchdown catch today, his third in the previous 2 games.
Well, we talked about Weston's arm and his ability to get the ball downfield. In this case, it's his accuracy. He canvasses the whole field. He checks Jonathan coming across the middle, sees the opening. You can see that opening right in there, and he leads him perfectly with a perfect thrown ball. Nice pass by Weston.
It was a tight window. Backup kicker Brett Money is on for the extra point. Out of the hold of Josh Carlson, and the hold was fumbled. Bobbled by Carlson, and that's probably due to a wet ball. It's a wet day on the turf. It's been raining on and off. Jonathan Brady, his second touchdown today. The young man out of Bishop Gorman extends the Aggie advantage.
To most people.
65-3 Aggies, and they are having fun on the sidelines here in the final game at home in 2022. It's been a good week for Aggie athletics as a whole. For more on that, we send it down to Tatiana.
That's right, Adam. Aggie men's basketball picked up a huge win this past Wednesday night at the Pan American Center against longtime rival UTEP with a final score of 95-70. A crowd of nearly 7,000 saw that win in the Pan American Center, and the 25-point win against the Miners was the second most lopsided win for the Aggies since 1968. 4 Aggies scored in double figures, led by 23 points off the bench for Anthony Roy. NM State has now picked up 11 straight home wins against UTEP and has a win in 16 of the last 19 games in the rivalry series. With the season series now split, there is still a chance the Aggies and the Miners meet one more time at the Sun Bowl Invitational in late December. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Tatiana. Nice win for the Aggies against the Miners, Danny.
Yeah, that was a good one. Sarah and I, my wife, watched that game, and you had a great call. Adam and Tatiana, you guys did a great job. The crew, all fantastic, so it was a lot of fun watching it, and it was just great to get a win against UTEP.
Always good to beat the Miners. The Aggie men will be back in action on Monday against non-D1 Simon Frazier. Big hitter on special teams, Dylan Zalesi. Down there, laying the lumber on Vircher. And now the Valpo offense comes back out with 10-10 left here in the fourth quarter. So now you have to get this one home. Just finish off the final 10+, make sure everybody gets out of here healthy. Obviously, the situation with Diego Pavia is of concern. He left with an injury late in the first half, so I'm sure a lot of folks are wondering if Diego's okay. We did see him come back out on the field in half 2. He was in street clothes with a limp, but no crutches for Pavia. So hopefully he's okay for a bowl game coming up here in a couple of weeks.
Well, you know, the nice thing about having a bowl game, it's not going to be next week. So we got just a little bit of time, depending on the bowl, right? So depending on if we get selected, I think we'll get selected, but where it is and the timing of it may give him a little extra time right there. And this is back to the touchdown. Look at that throw. He just threads that thing.
Jonathan Brady playing his best football down the stretch. New quarterback for Valpo is Jeffrey Jackson, who had to come in for one play earlier in the first half. A transfer from San Diego. 6'1", 200-pound redshirt senior. He throws far side. It's caught by the tight end, Jake Vickers, who is slipping on the turf. Could not stay on his feet. 7th catch this year for the redshirt sophomore from Canton, Michigan.
Well, he keeps that ball and he doesn't fall down. He turns around there. He's going to get some extra yardage in there. And you talk about a big tight end, gets the ball. He's one of those guys at 6'3", 255. He can truck you. He'll run you over, so just couldn't turn the corner, though.
Both tight ends have been good this year for Valpo, Vickers and Evan Jernigan. They've also used Dawson Pearson as well, who's unavailable today. Davis in motion, low snap to the quarterback Jackson. Pass complete. Tackle made by Kirkland. Catch was made by Labus, the running back. Gain of 9, first down for Valpo.
Lots of guys in that route. We have crossing guys across the middle. You have things happening on the outside. And in all of that, you have someone that just sneaks out into doing an out route right there, and he pops open. They hit him with the ball, and Kirkland's there to shut him down.
A lot of kudos has to go to Valpo and their head coach, Landon Fox, for agreeing to play this game. If they would not have played this game, the Aggies would not have had an opponent. Jackson using his legs, and he is ankle tackled past the 40-yard line.
You know, you're absolutely right, Adam. And for seniors, we saw some dancing, we saw some fun on the sidelines. It makes a big difference to have a nice win going out as a senior, because it leaves a great taste in your mouth that all of the work that you put in for the program, for the university, for your brother players is worth something, and it's a lot of fun, and so it is supposed to be fun.
That was a good tackle by Josh Ferguson, who played a lot more last year than he has this year. Redshirt sophomore linebacker from Katy, Texas, Taylor High School. Here's Vercher, his first carry today. He's been used on special teams in the return game. He goes for 4. Yeah, Valpo doesn't play this game. The Aggies don't get the 12th game. They don't get the 6th home game. They don't get senior day. So this was big for a lot of reasons. The waiver was not approved until Tuesday. Both schools were just kind of hanging on, Danny. I know you were anticipating and waiting for a phone call, and it didn't come until late on Tuesday. Yeah,
I just remember saying, okay, it's just not going to happen. And then when we spoke, it's like, I was thinking, no way. Glad it did.
The administration for both put a lot of work in, and a lot of credit goes to Mario Mocha, the NM State AD, and Braun Cartwright, the deputy AD at New Mexico State. Pass is hauled in. Catch made by Contreras, Hillsdale, Illinois native. He's had a good day. That is his 4th catch here today. This one goes for 21 yards.
Lots of time back there. So in this case, we sit back, no pressure on the quarterback, and giving the quarterback lots of pressure. Lots of time to sit back there. You can see the arm, nice arm strength. You have the guy that runs the pattern straight fly that clears everything out and opens up the underneath pass pattern.
Beacons down to the Aggie 31, looking for their first touchdown today. They had a 49-yard field goal from Bartholomew in half one. That's their only scoring. Vercher on the carry, nowhere to go. Pile is pushed by Ferguson, Kirkland, and McLean. Torrin Union into that one as well. Also a young man who played a little bit more last year than he has this year. All the stuff that goes into planning a football game as well, Danny, on the home side and the road side. Both of these programs did it in 4 days. You put tickets on sale for the Aggies, you get staff, you put on a telecast like we have here today, and then on the Valpo side, you still need to find a plane, hotels, all this different kind of stuff, a bus.
Yep.
And they did it in a very, very short time frame. Ryan Mann, the running back slash fullback, he is hit hard by Torrin Union in front of the Aggie sideline. And that might have been a late hit.
Yeah, it was pretty close right there. Yeah, there's the flag right there. In addition to that, Adam, you still have to put a game plan together, right? So all the coaches then have to watch film and break it down and figure out, well, what's our strategy for this game? So there's a lot that goes in.
After the play, personal foul, late hit, number 15 of the defense. Half the distance to the goal, automatic first down.
It's interesting you bring that up too, Danny, because Jerry Kill was talking earlier this week that him and his staff were already watching film on Valpo just in case. So they were prepping anyway, just in case it happened. And then if it doesn't happen, you just throw it away. But they wanted to be ready just in case. So there were a couple staff members working on the Valpo film before it was official on Tuesday. Because of the penalty, the ball down to the 12-yard line. 5 minutes left here in the fourth. Jackson fires, and it's incomplete. Out of the reach of Contreras. Johnny Tamayo in coverage for the Aggies. It was a cool moment, too, on Tuesday when Braun Cartwright, the deputy athletics director, got to give the news to the football program about the game being added, about the waiver being approved. Of course, the players went nuts. Jackson, a designed run, running left. Gets away from Schoolark, gets away from McLean before he's pushed out of bounds by Ferguson. He crashes hard into the sidewall. There's not a whole lot of room over there on the sideline, and it looks like Jackson is okay. That is.
And it's slick over there as well.
Very slick, yeah.
Yeah, I think BJ, he takes an inside kind of approach to getting into the backfield, and when he does that, he gets blocked in and gives up the corner. So watch the top of your screen in there. Instead of staying outside and having outside in support, he comes on the inside, and now he's chasing, and there you saw it right there. But he's okay. But anyway, so he gave up that outside leverage, and that's what allowed that play to get such big coverage.
Ball is at the 4 for Valpo. An high formation look. Labus, the deep back. Fullback is man. Penalty marker comes in. Al McNeil, the referee, will discuss things with the officiating crew. Aggies were penalized a lot, 4 times in half one. Nothing here in half two.
False start, number 1, offense, 5-yard penalty, replay, 3rd down.
That's the quarterback, Jackson. So the Beacons push back. Ball is at the 9-yard line. 3rd down and 7 from the 9. So it is not 3rd and goal. It's 3rd and 7 from the 9-yard line for Valpo. Aggies trying to finish off this game without allowing a touchdown. The backup quarterback, Jackson, a transfer from San Diego. Back to throw, Arinze rushing him, and he throws it out of bounds. Noah Arinze, the transfer from Oklahoma with the pressure.
Yeah, that's good pressure on the quarterback there, and nowhere to go with the ball either because there was good coverage on the backside. Man, talk about a built guy. Look at that. But there was nowhere to go. Pressure in his face, has to take a pass. It's going to be deep over top. Good coverage on the Aggie defensive backside. There's just nothing he could have done with that.
Valpo 1 for 1 on 4th down today, 7 for 19 for the year. They're going to chase points right here. 3:40 left. Valpo looking for their first touchdown of the day. They need the 2-yard line. Jackson throws it right. Low throw, and it's a turnover on downs on Valpo. And you better believe that means something to Nate Dreiling and his defense, keeping Valpo out of the end zone there. So a big stop for a lot of Aggie reserves on defense. Giving the ball back to the offense with 3:35 left here in the 4th quarter. Sports Accessories is now the official licensed merchandise provider for the Aggies, and they have the best Aggie gear in town at the best price. Check out their showroom in Las Cruces or visit the online store at theaggieshop.com. If you're going to be looking for bowl gear, I'm sure Brian Cox and the great folks over at Sports Accessories will have it starting next week. Weston Eget hands it off. Running back here is Braylon Stewart, his first career carry. Stewart, a freshman from Texarkana, Texas. If you kind of hang around in Texas and recruit there, Danny, you're doing pretty good, right?
I think so. I think there's a lot you can recruit. They really love their football, and there's a lot of good football to be had from every small town, big place, big metroplex, DFW. Great haven for football.
Right back to Stewart. Shimmies through a hole and gets tripped up. If he doesn't get tripped up there, we're going to see his blazing speed. He can really run. Not a big guy, only listed at 5'10", 200 pounds, but he has shown his speed in practice. He picks up 4 yards. Aggies will find out probably tomorrow morning during that Bulls selection show about where they're going to go, who they're going to play, the date of the game as well. It's an exciting time. We're talking about Aggie football at a high level here in December. Weston Egan gets twisted around and he fumbles the football. And it looks like Valpo has recovered. They have. So Egan fumbles the football, running for it with 2:19 left. And the Aggies commit their first turnover today. And for the Aggie offense, that is only their 5th turnover in the previous 8 games.
You know, we've seen Weston run the ball, and he can run the ball. And you see it right here, the open middle right there. He just takes it in there, but from the back, you just pull on it, didn't get the ball tucked away, and it just pops right out.
We talk about the change the offense has had the second half of the season. The big reason why the offense has been so much better, Danny, has been the lack of turnovers here in the second half of the year. And Nate Dreiling has said, too, regarding his defense, they've played a lot better because the offense has not turned the football over and has put the defense in a really good position typically. Catches made by Matt Ross. So can this Aggie defense, full of backups, make another stop here late in the 4th quarter? Ross gets 11 on the catch. There's B.J. Skulark. Under 2 minutes left here in the 4th quarter. Nate Dreiling looks on intently, trying to see if his defense can hold. Blowers got to the cornerback Jackson, couldn't finish him off. Kirkland does, though. And a timeout is called by Valpo.
You know, coming to this level of football from other levels, the first thing that's really hard to get used to is the speed.
Timeout.
You can see the
Valpo.
speed first
The
here
first
on the
timeout
sack.
of the
So
half.
they're coming
30 second
fast, very
timeout.
fast on the sack.
Please put
But after that, there's nowhere to go
134
because
back on the
there's
game
such
clock.
secondary
134.
support comes screaming in so quick. It's just very, very fast. The players are fast. The tempo is fast. Everything just happens quickly.
We've heard from players that come from the FCS level or the JUCO level or the high school level to the Aggies that it takes a little while to adjust. So for Valpo, this doesn't happen overnight, and for Valpo, this is their only FBS game. So it does take time to adjust to, and it just doesn't happen in one game of football. The Aggies will finish the season with wins in 5 of their final 6. They will improve to 6-6. And they will get to 6 wins for just the 2nd time since 2003. And they will head to their 5th bowl game all time and try to stay undefeated in bowl games. Bowl bound for the 2nd time in 61 years. Jackson tosses, single coverage, batted away by Skulark. There is a flag coming in, though. Intended receiver was Ross.
A lot of hand battling going on back there. Good coverage. He's in the right position, the right spot, but maybe they just felt like he just too much going back and forth there. And you'll see it at the top of the screen right there. Good position.
Holding. Number 0, defense. Half the distance to the goal, automatic first down.
Wow, so that wasn't even on the play there between Ross and Skulark. It was on Ferguson for holding. So to your point, Danny, that was good coverage by Skulark. No PI there, but it's holding on Josh Ferguson. Valpo will finish their season 5-7. They thought their season was done 2 weeks ago when they lost 24-0 at home against Drake. Well, they got an extra game. Jackson bobbles the snap, still hands it off, though, to Labus, and that was a dangerous play for Valpo. They're going to call a timeout again and use these here in the final minute plus.
Well, there was nothing going on there. As soon as they handed the ball off, got Ferguson standing in the backfield just making a tackle.
Their second timeout of the half.
Just blew it
30-second timeout. Please put 1:24 on the clock. 1-2-4.
Despite the outcome here for Valpo, a really cool experience for their players, and their seniors got an additional game. They needed the waiver from the NCAA to play a 12th game because at the FCS level, you only get 11, so they needed a waiver to play a 12th. They had their first charter flight of the season. They got that during this trip. Usually they bus or they commercial, and they got to do a lot of cool things here this week as well in the Mesilla Valley. After arriving yesterday, they went to Dripping Springs and did some touristy stuff yesterday during their day off. Well, Jerry Kill, my goodness. Have they started the statue yet out front, Danny? I haven't seen it yet, but they might be starting it.
Well, he's a rebuilder. That's what they say. And here it is, first year. And we're going to a bowl game at 6-6.
He said from day one, they call me the fix-it guy. Now, he's fixed a lot of things at different stops. Southern Illinois, Northern Illinois, Minnesota, those three most notably. But he's done this at a really fast pace, faster than his other stops. And now he will take the Aggies into the Conference USA next year. And that'll be a whole new storyline after the bowl game, Danny.
It will, and I think it's going to be exciting. I think there's some great matchups, some great rivalries that we'll have in the Conference USA, and I can't wait.
3rd and goal for Jackson. He slips on the turf, and he is touched. He is down around the 15. They'll mark him at the 16. He loses 8 yards.
You know, Adam, to get us to this point, from Coach Kill's perspective, you have to have leadership. And whether you're talking about business or you're talking about football or you're talking about anything else, you have to have a leader that has a vision of where they want to go and how to get there.
3rd and final timeout of the half.
Final timeout for Valpo.
And without that vision, you won't get there. And then after that, you have to make sure that everyone has that vision in mind and the plans to get there. And that coaching staff, they have it.
Now, as we look ahead towards Conference USA, which will be the next step after the bowl game, here's the current members staying in the teams coming in. So FIU, who the Aggies played this year, La Tech, historically very good. Western Kentucky's good. Middle Tennessee and UTEP. Aggies, Liberty, Sam Houston, and Jacksonville State coming in. Now, Sam Houston and Jacksonville State, they've been powerhouses at the FCS level. I think on paper, maybe, Danny, Liberty for a while had the best year out of any Conference USA school of the teams that will be in next year, and the Aggies won by 35 on the road a week ago. So that should give them some confidence into next year. 4th and goal for the Beacons. Heavy pressure. Jackson chucks it for the end zone, and it is out of the end zone. Intended for Ross. Turnover on downs. And the Aggies will be able to run out the clock in the final 56 seconds on offense.
Well, there's going to be some great matchups next year. I like that lineup. I like the Conference USA of us going there, and I can't wait to see how we're going to match up and start playing some of those teams.
And now all of a sudden UTEP is a league game. So that's a whole new wrinkle in the Battle of I-10. .56 seconds left, 65-3. The Aggies will go to 6-6, win their 5th in their previous 6 games. And this historic season will continue in a bowl game. Quarterback is still Weston Eggett. Hands it off to Omari Samuels. Always nice, too, Danny, to send the seniors out on a high note.
Yeah, it is. It's great to have all their family that come, everyone that gets here and sees something that's just a fun game. It's nothing over the top, so it's great to be able to send them out with a victory and a fun time, and the fun meter pegged.
Aggies honored their 18 seniors before the game today. Trying to set up this victory formation for Weston Egat, who will take a knee. Off to the bowl game they go. In year one in the Jerry Kill era. A lopsided win today against FCS Valpo, 65-3, the final score. And a lot of kudos to that man, Landon Fox, and this Valpo institution for agreeing to play this game, giving the Aggies that 12th game, giving the Aggies their 6th home game for the first time since 2013, and also giving the Aggies Senior Day here today. Final score 65-3. The new Senda Credit Union postgame show comes your way next.